Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. YouTube chat. Wig on head? What the fuck? Leave my bald sister alone. Alright? We're follicularly deficient family. Okay? Alright? You can't do it. You can't do it. Hello, yes, you do have the... I mean, I told you the other day that we're going to look at an Armored Skeptic video. Spoiler, but I'm very impressed you figured out from the title who we're going to look at today. I'm really surprised that the video we're going to look at exists. At least, I didn't spoil it for myself, so I don't know what he says in it, but... look at this. Thumbnail. Skeptic has regrets. Title, The Culture War, Weaponized Identity Politics. I have never watched an Armored Skeptic video, except for his Candid ad. I thought, and I've seen some clips, some really funny clips of his, I thought he was just like a fundy basher. Is he not? Like, what did he do that he would be upset about? I think I was on a stream with him once, like one of those ones where we all watched the latest Feminist Frequency video. Atheism and anti-feminism. Oh, so he did do did he do the whole ripping on bedroom feminist thing? Did he do that? Is that what he'd regret? I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on what he ever would do that would justify feeling regret. Right? I mean, I'm not drawing a blank. There are a few things. But... but... you might think I'm referring to Candid. Okay? He's said that's one of his biggest regrets, I think. But I'm not referring to that. I personally, the thing that comes to my mind with things he might regret saying, as a guy who sort of positioned himself as, you know, I am a scienceoid. I don't wear the armor of God, I wear the armor of skepticism. I see the world as it is. He said fucking humans evolved from trees. That's my number one thing I'd think would be like a regret for someone with that sort of persona. We did not. Common ancestry does not mean it's a fucking tree of life, not a fucking straight line of life where everything evolves from everything else. Okay? Common ancestry. He did? Yes. I swear to Christ, and I'll find it again if I have to. In one of his videos, he just threw out the line, deadly serious, talking about biological evolution. Humans came from trees, or something. It's like how humans came from trees, and I was waiting for it to be a joke, and it wasn't a joke. Okay, we can try and find it. I'll use the, is it armored with a U? I guess it's Canadian, right? So it's gonna be with a U. Thank you very much, Wario Wine.
Has become a member.
Big old farting wine. I'll search evolved from trees. I'm not seeing it in the transcript search. It's right in front of me. What you can see isn't what I can see, okay? I see an empty Google box, alright? Okay, so Armored Skeptic evolved from trees. I swear to Christ this is real, okay? Fuck. I can't find it. I probably posted it on Twitter at some point. Reminiscent of the pregnancy of the trout being very short. Someone showing their ass. Another thing, if I was him, that I might regret is he did the YouTube essayist thing. By which I mean, he read a book or two about a subject and then decided, I now know enough to make a summary video and he did it with fucking postmodernism, and it was a train wreck. Good old boy, Dr. Layman, rammed him right up the ass for that one. I don't know if you guys saw that. I don't know if you remember that. Pretty bad. What else does he do? What does he do now? I think he does conspiracy theory stuff. Microwave weapons are causing brain damage. That's something that was in development, right? Stop breeding dogs, pedigree of evil. What the fuck? I might have to watch him. Stop worshipping celebrities. The media is evil. He does like the word evil. History is a lie. This is the stuff. This is the stuff I saw he was doing. I didn't see the newer stuff. Harvesting lies. Exposing the dark side of food. What is this? What the fuck is this? Hang on. What is this? I think he got dissed off by... Do you want to know the truth? Do you want to know what I think is real? People say the shoe breakup ruined him or whatever. Obliterated him. False. False. I know exactly what obliterated him. No. No. Armored Skeptic absolutely fucking idolized this guy called... I think it's Captain Disillusion? Disillusion. My understanding is he absolutely loved this guy. Captain Disillusion did a sort of live show in a theater and shit all over Armored Skeptic by name, if I remember correctly, as an example of everything that's wrong with that YouTube. If I remember correctly, this occurred. And it... I think that's what broke his heart. More than any shoe on head stuff. More than any shoe on head stuff. Although shoe on head did help him a lot, okay? Did you know that she protected him? Did you know that shoe on head added a word filter to his channel that stopped you from saying my name or Bindu Ready or Candid? That was a funny one. When she broke up with him, the force field was down. The force field was down. You heard that? I heard that directly from Shoe on Head back in the day. Well, Skeptic regrets something. This is normally the thing where you're like, oh, I had an alt-right phase, but I got better. When people do this, it's normally something like that. I don't remember him as really being a heavy shitlord tearing into people, bullying people, or anything like that. So this will be enlightening. This will be enlightening. I don't think he ever did the bedroom feminist ripping thing or whatever. We'll see. He has a fellow T1J in his comments. Pro Tekken player T1J. Do I have the right person? Am I doing a racism and assuming he plays Tekken because he's black, or do I actually know this individual? Hang on. I think I've done a racism and assumed because he's black he plays Tekken. Hang on. It's the other black video essay guy, okay? Alright? Okay. You hated him when you were a retard rightoid because he was essentially the moist critical of the Skeptic community. I didn't look at how he's doing right now. I imagine he's doing very well. He's all over the place. Certainly doing better than me, though. Certainly doing better than me. Okay. The culture war. I thought he was just a fundy basher who peripherally, is that even a word? Should I use it that way? Touched on like anti-feminist, anti-woke stuff, anti-HW back in the day. I didn't think he did much in terms of that. He even tried to reach out to Francesca Ramsey, was it, or
Matthew
something?
Harder fed the streamer a $5 superberry.
Hello?
Better to bald than forever pregnant. Like Grigori in the family tree.
Grigori. Just, when I was but a young pine cone. We're gonna find out. I've given the people 10 minutes to show up. He did an interview with her, but then she made a video shitting. Did he even do that interview? I remember he did a weird garden cam video talking about planning to do a show with Francesca or whatever. He was a bridge buildoid. That's all I remember. Let's find out. Also, weaponized identity politics. I mean, in a sense, the point is that it's a weaponization. The point is that you're leveraging identity to get something done. Yes? Unless... Let's see what he means by weaponized, okay?
I really regret my role in the culture war.
Okay, this is really good anyway. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Hang on. What was your fucking role? Saying humans evolved from trees? Misleading people on the nature of what postmodernism is? Also, he should have just come on and said this.
Such devastation! This was not my intention!
Such devastation!
After a lot of reflection,
I gotta hear it again. Who did he even bully or troll? He got owned by Francesca. He got, like, backstabbed by Francesca Ramsey. Who did he...
I really regret my role in the culture war. After a lot of reflection over those events, I realized that I never should have engaged with that discussion at all. I wish I had been kinder. I wish
Cringe. The first part, sure. Sure. Kinder. When was he ever harsh or cruel? Does he have some shit? Okay, let's sort by old. Did he ever fucking rip on people? I don't consider myself to be the harshest individual online, and I'm pretty sure he's way milder than I've ever been. We don't want... Do we want 10 years ago? How long? How long ago do we want... Oh, God. Is Hillary a hologram? Presumably, this is owning rightoids. Yes? Wait, does he regret going hard on Steven Crowder? Or did he delete a bunch of stuff? What are we talking about in terms of his involvement in culture war? You better explain. Is he apologizing to leftoids or rightoids or just everyone? You've watched most of these videos? I'm pretty sure this is the one Dr. Lehman ripped him a new asshole over. Anyway.
I had been more fair. I wish I had shown more love and humanity.
More fair.
And I wish that I had shown more empathy. I still think that I had made a
Oh, man. The iDubbbz virus is airborne. He picked up a new skill.
Full of really good points over the years, and I believe my heart was in the right place with my initial motivation to get involved, at least. But I got out of the culture war and
I was rehabilitated. I got back into civilian life. It took a while. It took a while.
Divorced myself from that discussion.
Yeah, you did divorce yourself. Almost twice. Luckily, you didn't get married to Shu.
When I realized that there was no room for nuance in that discussion, and I got...
Yeah, there is. Whoa, that's utterly false. You just have to not be a coward. You just have to be willing to assert yourself in the face of anger and hatred. Just don't be a coward. Just say what you think precisely, and don't give a fuck. If you're afraid of other people, there's no room for nuance. If you want to make sure your audience is going to agree with whatever you say, there's no room for nuance. Like, if it bothers you that the people looking at it aren't going to 100% agree with what you say if you say something nuanced, then yeah, there isn't room, but why won't those things?
Got out when I realized that my videos were being used to embolden and strengthen positions that I did not agree with. And I
delete all your videos. Delete all your fucking videos. There is a horrifying percentage of people who will watch your video and not even understand what you've said whatsoever, but agree with you. Even on more mundane, everyday topics. You can post like a guide to cleaning your kitchen and someone will blow themselves up or create chlorine gas. I think if you have this perspective, you can't produce media. Now, if his issue, like, if you go, I'm taking it down because I fucked up in these ways, I think my video is bad and wrong, and it's affecting people because of that. But if it's purely just because it had that effect, right? Chud Buffer, he is the alt-right. Armored Skeptic apologizes for his years as the bard of the alt-right.
Realized that all I was doing was supporting something that I do not agree with. But in my opinion, I think that the entire environment created around the culture war completely regressed all meaningful discussion around social issues. Everything always ended up devolving into just a hate match. And both sides were guilty of doing this.
Oh, all sides. All two of them. Yes.
Actually got involved originally because
both sides. I was stifled as a radical centrist. I was stifled. I hate how it devolves into a hate match. These fucking evil extremists do not see the light of the center and moderation.
I didn't like the way that identity politics were being used to divide everybody. And that was like my mainstay argument, that we need to stop splitting everybody up into groups. That's nonsensical. But the culture...
This is the statement he makes to say, I regret involvement with the culture war. That's a very culture war relevant thing to say. That's very 10 years ago, basic bitch. Damn left, splitting people up.
Culture war divided everyone into groups, and then identity politics were weaponized against us. No matter what the discussion was about...
Yo, is he gonna say, oh, we became the group the Skeptics, and then we were racialized? Is he gonna do the Muslim thing? Please.
Or how heated the argument would get? It seems like all sides would unanimously agree that identity politics are still valid and should be used in this argument. And essentially, by agreeing to this...
Should be used in this argument. I'm gonna need you to define identity politics for me, buddy. You think it's gonna happen?
Everyone is saying that it's valid to use identity politics to dismiss someone. It's valid to use identity politics to dismiss an entire group of people. And that offends me. And all of...
Sounds like he's mistaking it for prejudice. That sounds just like prejudice. What?
This was usually done in the name of protecting something, like protecting a marginalized group, or maybe protecting a right or a freedom or something, sometimes a tradition. But in reality, all of that defending and protecting was just posturing, designed to justify hating and dismissing other people. I think when you...
Could you be a bit more vague, please? Does he think vagueness is nuance? I'd say the opposite. Precision is whence comes nuance.
Boil down a lot of the biggest characters and the loudest voices on both sides of the culture war It was really just a lot of hateful people looking for justification to hate other people. And I think in the end, a lot of those people were just celebrated for being hateful and spiteful. It seemed
Holy fuck. If that was the case, that would be extremely based. It's not quite, though, my buddy. Hence it being culture war and not just the regular shit-slinging that's happened forever online that people love. Ah! Ah! Vague posting will continue until nuance improves.
like everyone was in this race to dehumanize other people, to find groups of people they don't like and strip them of their rights and their freedoms, or
Name names!
even just
He's going to name names, Siffy. I did a little scroll, navbar scroll. I think a picture will show up somewhere along here. Oh, did you see it? Friend of the channel, Bearing, gets named, I presume.
just straight up deny their
I don't know what he says about Bearing. If he picks Bearing as an example of like a major hater, a major horrible person, there are very easy counters. He wants to talk about empathy, he wants to talk about humanization, he wants to talk about nuance and detail and not just playing teams. I remember Bearing calling out this fucking shit stain, I think it was a New Yorker guy, not the, like as in literally a guy from New York, not someone who writes for the publication. Some guy, I think he was from New York, just an actual bedroom fucking black pill misogynist loser freak. And Bearing just tore him apart in a discussion. Which I guess you can say is hateful, but I think it goes against the idea that it's just hate the other side to humanize them. I think Bearing's a good example of it not being pure team games and there actually being values anyway. It is Siffy. It is. By the way, we've got 45 level 20s, 26 level 75s, 18 level 125s, 8 200s, and 2 300s, and 1 400. Thank you so much for engaging with the sponsorship. All right, back to the video.
experience or deny their pain. And everyone was doing this in the name of
Damn, I can't believe a YouTuber is denying another person's pain. What the...
protecting their own rights and freedoms. I feel like back then, the argument that I was making the most often was stop taking away someone else's freedom, because in doing that, you're taking that freedom away from yourself.
Wow! Is this just gonna be... Did he train an AI on 2016 through 2014 videos, and it spat this out? Okay, he said, identity politics just divides us all. Okay, pits us against each other. Ooh, don't take away others' freedoms, because it's gonna take away that freedom from yourself, or someone else is gonna use whatever you've done. We're talking about YouTubers talking.
But I guess the way that I packaged it and the people that I was...
Who is this video aimed for? Righties or lefties? I think this is actually pandering to the sensible, moderate, centrist LARPer. Okay? I think that's what's happening. Because we scrolled back through his videos, and the shit from that period was him like ripping on Crowder and stuff, which would make you think he regrets going on the right, which would mean this would be pandering to the right. But he's clearly someone who he was always like doing a little bit of both. He was like a balanceoid, right? A little bit hit the rightoids, be a fundy basher, little bit shit on Anita Sarkeesian. He never did like the all-in team sports stuff. I presume because he's a coward, but
surrounding myself with, it still made it seem like I was very firmly on a specific side on these issues. But I feel
sorry.
It and the people that I was surrounding myself with, because in doing that, you're taking that freedom away from yourself. But I guess the way that I packaged it and the people that I was surrounding myself with, it still made it seem like I was very firmly on a specific side on these issues.
No, I don't know. I don't know what side you were firmly on. Looking back now, Was he not wishy-washy?
But I feel pretty confident that the culture war as a whole was basically just used and designed to divide humanity. It definitely was not designed to heal us. It was
Not designed. The culture war was not designed to heal us. Do you not think perhaps it arose out of divisions that already existed? Or continues to arise out of those things? I'm gonna say something that's gonna fuck you up. Some iteration of the culture war has existed and occurred for a lot longer than since 2014, 2015, whatever.
definitely not designed to help us heal our culture or heal our connection with each other. It
Heal our culture. Does he know? He's trying to be like, I'm just a reasonable, normal guy. You're talking like an alt-right account with a with a marble bust avatar. Heal our culture.
definitely wasn't helping us understand how to love each other or to respect each other's vulnerability.
What is the... Okay, what percentage of his audience is female? I need to see that.
Nobody was really trying to give us the tools to help understand how to love each other's differences, or respect each other, or love each other for our pain or our trauma. There was
Love each other for our pain or our trauma. I need those demographics right now, Gregory.
WHO watches
I need 'em
Fed
right
streamer
now.
$2 Superberry.
Thank
I am
you.
gonna grift. I am grifting so hard R&R.
Thank you.
no humanity in that debate back then. There was definitely no humanity in the way that militant hordes of keyboard warriors would scour the internet. Random people, normal people, were just getting raked across the coals in public, sometimes by big names, simply for expressing innocent and sincere expressions of themselves.
Okay, but the raking across the coals you're describing, it took what form? Commentary? Uh-oh. What was it you just said, like, 2 minutes ago, Gregory? Something about restricting freedoms, restricting yours? What could a consequence be? Do you think, go read fucking Kant, okay? Think about deciding what, duties we have based on logical contradictions within the upholding of them.
For me, this
There's a book for you to read. Okay, buddy?
all started in about 2014 when I was still in the atheist community. I joined the atheist community at the time.
That's a sentence you should never fucking ever say! I joined the atheist community. Like you signed up, or like that was the year you decided you didn't think there was a god, or he's an ex-cult member, right? Is that his thing, or is that someone else?
Because it used to be about encouraging debate, encouraging free thought, questioning the world, questioning the universe. The atheist community seemed dead set on finding the truth. And it was all about free thought and free
I looked at all that shit online back then, no, it wasn't.
expression. And not only that, but
That's the branding, and all this shit always brands itself like that. You bought the branding back then. It's not that it was that.
atheism came with its own brand of activism called humanism. Sure, humanism wasn't perfect, but the point is that these weren't heartless people. They more or less wanted the best for humanity. But
Sounds to me like he hates the culture war because of the dehumanization, and now he's preparing himself to dehumanize those people he criticized for their dehumanization. There was a heart there.
just as I was becoming acquainted with atheism and humanism as a whole, a new movement started growing inside of the atheist community called Atheism Plus.
Let's go.
This is when things started
Stay paused.
getting weird. Atheism Plus sounded perfect on the surface. It was against sexism, racism, homophobia. I'm on board with all of those fights. Atheism Plus sort of presented it.
But on which side, Gregory? But on which side?
Itself to us as like a younger, hipper, more energetic form of activism. So it at least sounded more fun. But to our complete surprise, the movement came with a whole bunch of bullying. It didn't really make sense that this community that was really well known for having fair debates and open discussions was suddenly bullying each other over these subjects.
No. This is a fucking whitewash. No. No, 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 no. Online atheism was always full of bullying. Of the outgroup. The problem with Atheism Plus is that it sparked infighting. This is like a blinkers on pretend history. No, no. It's not that they were just friendly and soft and they just wanted fair things, poning religitards, ruthlessly mocking them. That was always a thing. But then it turned inwards a bit.
Subjects that we've discussed before. Like, something broke in the atheist community almost overnight. The whole conversation itself split the entire atheist community right down the middle. And the way that it manifested in the discussions was really...
Would you guys say that's accurate? Is it about half of the online atheists went one way, half the other? Is that like a... I have genuinely no grasp of the actual numbers. I know it got a lot of figureheads, but did it get the masses?
Strange. I'd never seen anything like it before. Anytime somebody would debate a topic or question the logic of a more over-the-top assertion created by a leader of the Atheist Plus community, that person would get chastised and then shut down by the whole rest of the community.
Shut down? They would be unplugged. They would no longer be allowed to charge their batteries.
Sometimes they would get triangulated, and often they would even get banned.
They would get triangulated and drone striked? Wait.
Triangulated, and often they would even get banned. Sometimes people would get banned just for asking a question. The very idea of not just accepting things that were asserted suddenly became a sin in the atheist community. Something wasn't right. When I started on YouTube as the Armored Skeptic, all I really wanted to do was have discussions, be part of debates, and tell stories. And the very first video I made on this channel back in 2014 as the Armored Skeptic was a story that I created in order to vent frustration that I was feeling about this Atheism Plus movement coming in and sort of dividing the atheist community.
But some of the more prolific and dynamic members of the group were getting banned from participating and publicly shamed. The first one that AJ noticed was Thunderfoot. Sure, Thunderfoot's opinions were not always popular, but it hardly seemed logical to excommunicate him for speaking his mind. A few people...
I saw my girlfriend in the chat. She just said, like, oh Lord, or something. Wait, what did... Don't beat me. I just saw her say Lord. What did she say? Why are you sighing? Oh, I'm sucking off the goblin under the table again. Hang on. I made my monitor higher, so now... Okay. There we go. I'll stay up. I'll get good posture. We fixed it.
People asked questions about it. It wasn't long before they started...
I will be cold in the ground before I address the YouTubeoids.
Getting banned as well. Although his questions were not ambiguous, made no implications, and had the best intentions, AJ quickly found himself on the receiving end of endless public shaming, bashing, and name-calling.
I felt like the atheist
got a lot of attention.
Community was just hijacked by this thing, whatever it was. And at first, I thought it was just that one side.
I thought we were better than the Muslims, but then we hijacked ourselves.
At first, I thought it was the progressivism that was the problem, not the ideas that they were expressing, but their military.
Ooh, what's this?
Corruption Point fed the streamer a $5
Corruption
super
Point.
berry.
Thank you for the $5.
Atheists who weren't super feminists got pushed out, but yes, they were always ruthless to religious people.
Yeah, which is fine, but this is like pretend history. It was all so soft. And then the mean feminists came.
An attitude towards protecting and defending and villainizing against people that have questions or want to debate against those subjects. And the reason this divide was happening, at least from my perspective at first, was because people were resisting or defending against these new bullying tactics. And there was just two halves.
New bullying tactics of public shaming. I guess the banning you from within your communities thing would be new to you, but public shaming for online atheism, a new bullying tactic. No, it's like why people found it fun.
Halves of atheism now, the side that wanted to be militant about social issues and the side that just wanted to maintain that old flavor of atheism, having open discussions, having open debates, and questioning the universe around us. And it seemed like a whole bunch of people
and fucking dunking on the guy who said the banana is shaped for the human mouth.
Just wanted to pick sides.
And the King Crocoduck. And who's the guy? Venom Fang 1. Is that the guy? Is that the guy? Is that the name? Does that ring any bell? Venom Fang X. All that shit. That's practically lolcow stuff that was the online atheism was doing.
Like, everybody wanted to just be angry. And it seemed like both sides were just really angry. One of the reasons that I felt that I was in the middle of this fight and not on one of the sides is because my motivation for joining the debate in the first place seemed completely different from the way that the debate was even being conducted. See, I didn't like the way that these new progressives were employing identity politics, policing language, using logical fallacies, and even attacking their...
These feminists, they brought logical fallacies into my Costello, into my my fortress, my bulwark of logic. It was undermined. They planted logical fallacy bombs.
Opponents directly. And if there's one thing I feel
attacking their opponents directly never happened.
That I never got justice for in that debate was that I was never seen for having that position, even though I would frequently speak out against that behavior.
Laura Loomer walks onto the stage and starts yelling at the actors, claiming to be protesting their portrayal of Trump and conservatives. You are all garbled! What you're witnessing is a huge double standard being exercised, and basic human rights being violated, namely, the right to freedom of speech. Laura was the one who was willfully and knowingly interrupting a play, hijacking their stage, and violating their right to free speech.
Would I call that violating their right to free speech? There are a lot of things you can call it. I'm not sure I'd call it that. Obscene, crude, rude, inappropriate, blah 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 blah.
Some of the same people who complain that the left is trying to censor them are justifying this event as necessary. That's the double standard. Look at it. Look at this. Pick a side. It's this pick a side again, and I'm f***ing sick of it. This isn't a left versus right thing. This is not a
you can be fucking demented
sides thing. This isn't me pushing.
Sure. If you, I guess, if it's gonna. I don't know what she was doing. PR stunt thing that was like, you know, get a bit of attention and then let it continue. Should be stopped, obviously. But I'm imagining, like, imagine some fucking drunk asshole in the crowd is screaming. Is the speech being violated if they have to shut down for a second to kick them out? The right being violated? Describing it as a rights violation seems a bit much to me.
alt-centrism. This is simply a pro-free speech versus anti-free speech discussion. This is about being...
Although, if they're like, you can't do this play, was it them trying to actually stop the play, or was it just using the play to get attention? I lack context.
Consistent with your beliefs. Everybody was sick of the way that the left was acting, and now your goal is to act exactly like them. Do you really lack any self-awareness? They did it, so we can do it. That's a mentality you're supposed to grow out of before you're f***ing 6. Do you want people to join your side? Then actually live up to the standards you expect others to live up to.
Both sides seemed really happy to play it.
I have bad news about Laura Loomer. I have bad news about any attempt to hold Laura Loomer to any kind of standard, or whether that's a matter of hypocrisy or even just standards of decency. Just, you are the fool for trying to do this.
The streamer of $5
Off like a...
Thank
I
you.
have a feeling this is the new grift. More apology videos for past actions because the political / ideological landscape is changing.
No, I think it's just something for him to do. What rate is he pumping videos out at? Because he was talking about how he was desperate for money or something. This is a slow pace. If he wants to hop on a grift, he would not have dropped this, and then a couple weeks later talked about drone workforce. If he was trying to do some sort of grift.
Big passionate fight. It's like everyone was hungry for that fight. And I think that that's why the term culture war was able to stick so quickly and so efficiently, is because everybody involved in that debate was already feeling like they were part of a war. But I also feel that that's what everybody involved wanted. Everyone wanted there to be this passionate fight. They wanted there to be argument. They wanted to have an enemy to point at and say, that's the reason I don't have happiness. That's the reason my side...
Not necessarily that, but conflict is very fun. Polemics, very enjoyable.
Or my group is unsuccessful in the world, or that's the reason why I'm feeling this pain, or that's the reason I've endured all this trauma. And
Gregory, are atheism plus while you were feeling that pain? They sure do sound evil.
I feel like I was watching that social movement as it grew over the years, right from its very inception. And it seemed like the whole internet was slowly getting taken over by this debate. And every individual...
This is myopic. This is absolutely fucking myopic. No. Maybe... If you only look at like corners of YouTube and only look at shit on Twitter, it might seem like the whole internet. Really not, no.
The community across the internet was getting divided over this debate. The entire internet seemed to devolve.
Certain ones, I know, like, you know, we've got the atheism fucking subreddit, whatever. We've got, I think furries have had political schisms and stuff. The internet's bigger than all that. In your video about people sensationalizing things, making it something to get fired up about, you are overstating the situation, I would suggest. For bombast.
Into these angry mobs that were set to demonize and villainize anybody who said the wrong thing or used the wrong catchphrase or used the wrong word. Anybody that was...
You couldn't even say wubba lubba dub dub without 100 fascists descending upon you.
Was employing the wrong language. And anytime somebody saw something like that, their response would be to say, "What are you at?"
I'm gonna say, for as crazy and intense as it's supposed to be, I don't really remember much.
Social justice.
Maybe that's my trauma response. I've wiped it from my memory to protect myself. It's just a thing. Things happen before it, things happen after, related things continue to happen. Okay.
Warrior, what are you, alt-right? Oh, God. Are people still doing that? I joked about...
He sounds like an NPC. As in, I don't mean it in the way it's used nowadays. It sounds like you're playing an open world game. There's a guy sitting at a diner with a newspaper, and these are the lines he says.
this a few times in the past, but the day that I knew for sure that something was wrong was when even the furry community was debating these issues on their forums. Even the subgroups of subgroups of subgroups were divided and debating these things. Nothing was safe or sacred on the internet anymore. You couldn't just...
They corrupted the furry community! It used to be so wholesome and unified. Bro, what the fuck are you... Nothing is sacred anymore. The furries are fighting. How are people taking this video seriously?
Log into your little cubby group and be safe to express yourself anymore.
Your little cubby group? Sorry, hang on. If we're talking about furries, cubby... I feel like he's using cubby group to describe a safe space, like a, you know, like you have a little cubby where you put your stuff at preschool. Unless he means... Is he talking about fur babies? Is this a bit? Have I paused Andied?
You couldn't just log into your favorite forum and discuss your favorite subject anymore, because...
Dog. You can't be... I don't think it was specifically in reference to furries. You can't go from, oh, it even divided the furries, nothing's sacred anymore, you can't even go into your little cubby groups. Don't fucking say that line after talking about furries, unless you want people to severely misunderstand. Even though it seems like he's talking about general stuff.
If you say the wrong thing, all of a sudden a mob of people jump into your discussion and start bullying you for being a feminist or bullying you for being a misogynist or something.
You literally... You cannot bully me on a forum. It's not possible. You can't do it. Not possible. There are things you can do that are worse than bullying. Like, oh, you post my fucking credit card details and PIN number. Okay. There's shit you can do to me that's like fucking crimes. And there's shit that's less than that. Bullying on a forum? I simply choose not to be bullied.
Or they try to get you angry about something that's happening to some marginalized group, or try to get you angry that some...
Dude, people are getting raped in VR games these days. Nice.
Writer...
I've been on VR chat. They deserve it.
Freedom is being stolen from you. Everyone's an enemy, and everyone's just out there...
Like, what? Oh shit, I never should have bought that, like, VR-activated dildo underwear.
They're trying to
get haptic rape feedback when someone preys on me in VR chat.
Steal your rights from you. But the thing that I was most offended by was everyone's behavior. It was abhorrent. Everyone on every side seemed to have this totally calloused disregard for humanity. There was so little humanity in that online environment.
See, it's that thing again. He's condemning them for their dehumanization of others, while dehumanizing them.
Let's get touchy for this.
Literally saying they lack humanity.
99 Superberry. He's right for the wrong reasons. The culture war was started and continues to be instigated by malicious foreign actors with bots and astroturfing.
True. Did you know? I'm actually an AI generation by China, and have been since 2016.
I know, I've not been on Twitter in the last 4 years or whatever, but I can only imagine that that's worse now. But at the time, it was just, like, awful. I got sad every time I posted something because...
I got sad every time I posted something.
Sad still love. Make some slurping.
If only Armored Skeptic knew how bad it is online. If only he knew.
Sad still love. Make some slurping noises.
Please get away from me.
The airplane.
Please get the hell away from me now.
Dude, back off.
Soy boy, get out of here. You bug over, mate. You wanna suck my
No,
brain?
I don't think so. Cover off.
He's got wings.
Yeah, you're gonna
I'd
get
watch.
kicked soon.
I'd watch who gets out of the game.
Up your dukes, cuck! Up your dukes!
Watch who gets out of the gape. Don't think I heard that right.
The replies were people that didn't really want to have a discussion. They just wanted to say quippy, edgy things, and it just made me feel.
Why is that wrong? Why is that bad? What if it's funny? That's good shit on the internet. There's a guy in the chat somewhere. There's one guy who says little snarky things, and they're pretty funny a lot of the time, and I enjoy that. As impromptu, improvised comedy.
Nate
Just off the top of the dome.
$5 Superberry. Skeptic. Furries are no longer awake or can't go to your cubby forums. Also Skeptic. Why did people bully people for saying one wrong thing?
I like that shit is self-expression. That shit is human. That is humanity. We like little funny things, even if they're a bit mean, especially if they're a bit mean.
Very
It's not embracing humanity to cleave off parts of what humanity is that you don't like.
defeated. Anytime you actually tried to have a properly nuanced discussion, it would just get stolen.
Like he's talking about, didn't he say like little snarky replies and whatnot?
From you, and in the process it would just steal all your energy for that subject. It's like that was the point, is don't allow nuance and just beat everybody down to the point where they just don't have the energy anymore to get their point across. But it seemed like there were these hordes.
I got dotted. I was hit with the corrupted blood debuff, and I could no longer... The reason Armored Skeptic said that humans evolved from trees is because he was intercepted on Twitter.
Of people that were scouring the whole internet. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, everything. They were just trying to find anything they didn't like just to get angry about it. And if they couldn't yell about it in the comments, then they'd maybe make a video about it or make a post of their own, trying to get like a hate mob to jump on it. And that was most people's introduction to the culture war, is that they just be...
Ooh, maybe most people on YouTube. Does he think the culture war only exists on social media? Because that's an absurd fucking statement to say. Most people introduced to the culture war through like videos ripping on the other side on YouTube or whatever. No, that's absurd. Did you know that television exists and history exists before 2016? What is this?
Point the streamer $2
I need to sit up.
What does he mean by nuanced?
He means more vague. Nuance from the from the French word for puddle. You have to be wide like one, but very shallow.
On the internet minding their own business, they'd post something totally innocent, and then a hate mob would descend down on them and start demonizing them. And usually these people had no idea what the hell was going on, because they weren't part.
I remember when Anita Sarkeesian was streaming one time, and I went to say hello. A bunch of us said hello in the chat. And she whispered, "The harassers are descending. I think Myler sent them." And I said, "Ban me." And they didn't ban me, but they removed my message. And then I said, "Don't ban me." And they banned me. That is the entirety of my function as a hate mobber of Anita Sarkeesian.
Part of the culture war. They just were using the words they knew how to use to...
Hang on. Hang on. There might be, some kind of... archive? I don't think there is for that, though. I'm not seeing it real quick. Oh well.
Describe the thing they were trying to describe, usually to a very small audience or a very small collection of followers. And then people would only find out that that was even said at all because somebody big would come along and then blow it up to make it a big deal. And all
Okay.
of that was usually because they posted something innocent that just happened to trigger some famous person.
It's published media. It's published media. He's one of those people who believes in the whole thing. Please, I'm just a small account. What I say doesn't count as being public media that's been published for the world to consume. No. Have a private account and curated friends, or post your shit publicly. I post my shit publicly because I want as many people to see it as possible. Someone grabbing it to blow it up, even if they fucking hate it, is good! You're just a fucking moron if you put something out publicly and then you're upset that it gets picked up. I'm sorry. You don't understand the game that's being played. It's the same shit as putting out a book or a movie, but small and retarded in the form of a tweet.
That had a mob following. There were just a lot of petulant children, and this is how they conducted themselves. And I've heard a lot of testimonials that played out this exact same way. I interviewed someone about her experience back in 2015.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, imagine if that happened in real life. If it happened in real life, the real life equivalent is you saying weird shit to kids in the town square and then getting the shit beaten out of you. This is way softer. Things are more civilized online.
When she was just randomly hit by fallout from the culture war, just blindsided by one of these hate mobs. She said, "When I was younger, I often turned to social media to express my experiences, feelings, and thoughts. It served as a way for me to process what I was going through and carve out a small personal space."
Buy a notebook. Buy a notebook. The kids that get online these days are made to think that way. Yes! And I have many thoughts about that. We probably will not get into that today, but I believe that is probably strategic, even, to make people view it that way to justify what needs to be imposed on platforms. But anyway.
However, I remember a time when a post of mine drew the attention of self-proclaimed anti-feminists who not only shared my post, but also launched personal attacks against me.
Damn, I can't believe they broke into your home and stole your diary. Oh wait, you posted media for the world to see.
It was deeply humiliating and felt entirely unjustified. I was simply
Justify posting it in the first place, bitch.
a young girl expressing myself. I wasn't
Where? To whom?
pretending to be an authority on anything. It seemed that every time I shared something, I faced conflict in the comments, or my intentions were completely misconstrued. Also, growing up in an activist household, I was particularly affected by the rise of new wave protests. Rather than fostering dialogue or raising awareness about particular issues, these protests frequently descended into a spectacle of anger and mutual accusations.
God, I loved Occupy Wall Street. I'm getting flashbacks, suddenly.
It became an event of opposing groups clashing, disregarding each other's perspectives, engaging in verbal abuse, and incessant arguments. I saw firsthand people being harmed, and those professing.
I always look at it like this. Okay, I'm sure people said really horrible things. I'm sure people say really horrible things that I would find demented and unreasonable, and I certainly wouldn't say. However, the alternative is you can say things and put them out there for the world to see, but other people aren't allowed to talk about it. No! Fuck no!
To safeguard others often ended up endangering them instead. It was awful to see people treat each other in such a dehumanizing way. And as the culture war progressed, I lost total control of my own identity online.
No, I am an empath. I can actually feel exactly what other people are feeling. That's why, I'm empathizing with someone. If I ever say something stupid, it's because I'm empathizing with your retardation.
Suddenly got taken away from me. Back in 2016, 2017, the public started creating their own version of me with his own backstories and his own characteristics. And no matter how hard I tried, I could not separate myself from that
Yeah, because it's published media. You're not ripping your soul out and putting it into the machine and then other people are receiving your soul exactly. You're publishing media, which then has to be interpreted by your audience. So even if they're not deliberately mischaracterizing you, that's what happens. Like, there ain't shit anyone can do about that, and that happens no matter what you're doing.
Fake version of me that everybody was angry about. No matter how nuanced I would be, and no matter how clear I would try to make it that I'm not trying to pick a side, they would tell blatant lies about me and just make up totally fabricated stories about me. And then just all collectively get angry at that fake version of me. And I didn't know how to stop that, so I just ignored it.
You can't. What did you think was gonna happen? I don't think it's a fence-sitting thing, Sivi. I think it's genuinely just he doesn't understand what it means to be a public figure, what it means to publish media, what it means to have that media consumed. He's presenting this as a culture war issue, somehow related to identity politics, I guess. But this is just how mass media works, no matter what, to a degree.
Ignored that. But I feel like that same thing still happens today. Like, I can make a video where I just tell a story and I try to make it fun, but somehow people just get angry about it.
Damn. A fun story being interpreted by an audience in different ways? Impossible.
They just want to be angry. And I'm not out here trying to push anything. I'm not trying to put the 10 Commandments on the front steps of City Hall or anything, but people are acting like I'm out here pushing some political agenda when all I'm doing is just having fun, doing my own thing. And that's sort of what the culture war does to people. They just want to see everything as an enemy, and they can't.
If you want to have fun, you can't have this viewpoint. You can't think like this. You have, or rather, Greg has locked himself out of having fun by caring about this. You will never have fun ever again if you care.
Enjoy something for what it is. They can't just accept something for what it is. It must be part of this culture war. It must be part of some agenda to strip somebody of their rights, or to make people ignorant, or to push God in government or anything, when I've never tried to do anything like that. I didn't feel like...
Question. How many of the commenters who are critical of him will feel that him saying this is a mischaracterization of what they've posted to him, even as he complains about their mischaracterization of himself? You get what I'm saying? How many people will feel that this is a broad brush being painted across all of them unfairly? How many people do you think feel a victim of what he's saying he feels a victim of within the very same handful of sentences?
Trying to fight that fake version of me that everyone created would do me any good. And I didn't really know at the time how to show the real me on YouTube. I'm still only just learning. I'm only just now learning how to show people the real me on YouTube.
That's weird. There are two ways to think about this, okay? Right. Okay, there are two angles I have on this. Option one, you can't show the real you because it will always be clouded by a layer of artifice. In attempting to display the real you, you've made it impossible to show the real you. Option two, you cannot help but show the true you because whatever you do is what you're doing. The fucking Rene Descartes perspective. They're like, I YouTube, therefore I am type shit. Like, no matter what you put up there is showing the real you because that's what you chose to do. It's just hard for people to interpret. What I think when people say this, what I think they mean is I'm just learning how to make sure I give the impression of myself I want you to have.
YouTube, I definitely didn't know how to be vulnerable and sincere back then, so I just kind of left it. I didn't even understand where to start. So after I got out of the culture war, not really knowing where to go, I just decided to hide behind my characters and just tell some...
You're saying, okay, Frank says you're never being 100% fake. Here's the thing. If you are someone who would be fake, then being fake is the behavior that is true to yourself. You get what I'm saying on that sort of meta level of the real you.
Fun stories. And I prefer doing art now. I prefer making art. That's
like the question of the real you being presented in media is itself fecund with more questions.
Much more fulfilling than getting involved in some debate or trying to push some specific
Sorry, what did he say?
than getting involved in
I prefer making art that's much more fulfilling. Can I just see his next video?
Amazon has unofficially launched their first fleet of flying delivery drones across select regions of the United States.
One of the
Whatever makes you feel whole, brother.
capabilities that this drone has is that not only is it fully autonomous, which means that it does not have a pilot.
All right. Okay.
Some debate or trying to push some specific worldview. I'd rather just have fun expanding my mind and just thinking about new things and playing around with ideas.
You sound like a 19-year-old girl.
That is constructive. Arguing with each other about who to hate the most.
Oh yeah, this guy's like a decade older than me, isn't he? I keep forgetting that a lot of people are older than me.
Is not constructive. I just wanted to take a minute to thank my patrons for supporting me. I could not do this without you guys. I love you so much. You're keeping food on my table.
Hey! Speaking of being your true self, do you think perhaps incentives related to people choosing to give you money or not might cloud or warp how you choose to portray yourself? How much do you really care about portraying the real you? Do you care enough to portray a you that no one wants to give money to? Curious. I'm really scared about the culture war's effect on, what people do online. By the way, please, for the love of God, like my stuff or I die. Just think one step further.
If you're interested in supporting me or my channel, please consider becoming a patron or a channel member, or just toss me a donation on PayPal. Some of you might have heard about the supposed Skeptic community, a collection of weird characters that have silly...
Alright, we got Kraut, we got Plague Doctor or something, we got a Skeleton Man. I think I might have seen that face. That is Undoomed. Some sort of demon. We got Omegon. Wait, Omega Man? Omegon, whatever he's called. Skeleton Man. Mr. Dapperton! I had a slap fight with him once and he didn't understand anything I was saying. That was pretty good. Don't know who that is on the right. That is Uzalu. Some sort of goat. I have no idea what the fuck that logo is. Wolfman. Oh, the gay monkey. The gay ape. Who helped me with Candid stuff. Naked ape. He's just called Naked Ape. There are a lot of different apes. It's hard to keep track of. Some guy. Don't remember. Dr. Layman, Armored Skeptic, and another guy whose avatar I recognize.
Heads on suits. This is something that I made fun of a lot of times back then, because this is not a real thing, and I was never part of this. In fact, most of these idiots, I don't like them at all. I used to...
Never a thing, and I was never a part of this. Ooh. Greg was super into linking people into that. Yeah, this fucking guy who I've never ever talked to. When I was ripping on the Candid stuff, this fucking guy, I have never ever talked to him on a personal level. Ever. Right? Only ever been in a live stream once, which is a performance. It's a gig, essentially. He tweets at me, I thought you were my friend.
It's in your name, though.
I don't know who the fuck you are. So, if he's saying shit like this to other people, in other contexts perhaps, and other stuff like that, I wonder if he'll bring up the... Hang on. And thank you very much for that. Let me try and find his classic thing. This isn't a skeptic community thing necessarily, but he did like the new four horsemen of atheism, and it was him. I think it was him, Thunderfoot, Amazing Atheist, maybe Sargon. It's so funny. It's so funny. I wanna... Does anyone know? Oh, baby! Oh, baby, here it is. Holy shit. Now, this doesn't mean he was in with those people on that picture. None of them are featured here. But he's definitely a hive mindoid. I'm drunk, so I've decided that we should be the new four horsemen. The skeptic, the scientist, the advocate, and the atheist. Who would this originally be? Randy, what's his name? Who's the debunker? James Randi. It would have been James Randi, Carl Sagan. Who else would it be? Whatever.
Call them all skeptic clones. And that was my way of sort of separating myself from them. Just
no. This was your way of putting yourself above them. That's your insecurity speaking. Come on. Just be real.
Saying, hey, they're all like copying my gig. Yeah. They're all just trying to mimic my style, but they're not actually representative of me, my brand, my worldview, my opinions, my heart, my soul, nothing.
Mental. Does he think they were tainting his brand? Is that how he views that? They're like knockoff Mickey Mouse that made people confused. They thought they were him? What is this perspective?
I was completely removed from this group. Yet anything they did, I was still held accountable for them. Like
Held accountable? No, ping tubers are nothing, okay? Ranch soners were never a thing.
Actively and intentionally created this community of skeptics. But most of them weren't skeptics at all because they didn't make atheist content.
Oh god, I'm gonna fall over. None of them were skeptics at all because they didn't make atheist content. I feel like that is... Oh god. I'm repeatedly falling out of my chair, man. Repeatedly falling out of my chair. I want to do a little, I want to play a little game. I want to check something really fast. The only time on his channel he says skeptic community is in this video. Okay.
Pretty much only made socio-political content. And I don't know how you can be a skeptic of socio-political ideas. It doesn't make any sense.
In what sense? Does he think skepticism refers only to believing something exists or not? I don't... You know, here's a word that's gonna fuck his head up. Have you ever heard the phrase Euroskeptics?
I was just a skeptic because I was a skeptic. But...
Nice. Gotcha. Thank you. Atheism Plus ruined logic for us, okay? They brought in logical fallacies. I was a skeptic because I was a skeptic, on the other hand.
The idea of skeptic went from being skeptical of anything and everything, like me, and it suddenly became, you're skeptical of feminism, or skeptical of Black Lives Matter, or just like anything that was considered.
You just said they're not skeptics because they didn't make atheism content. You yourself said your standard was it had to relate to atheism, so they're not skeptics. A skeptic channel. I feel like I'm missing something here.
Progressive, suddenly I'm now skeptical of, simply because other people have used that title, skeptic, to describe their skepticism of those things. I hated that. But making fun of them and calling them skeptic clones was really the only thing I could do to separate myself from them. But basically, they made it look like
you could be different.
I was the leader of some edgelord community.
Armored Skeptic, also known as Undoomed's boss. Yes, that's how people viewed it.
And again, there was nothing I could do to separate myself from that image. No matter what they did, they would try to make it look like
I've never heard him described as a leader. At all. Ever. I've never heard anyone talk about him that way. I think that's a fantasy he had.
Some way I was responsible for it. And that just sucked because so many of them were just awful people. They would just say awful things. Anyways, the point is that the thing...
Damn, things they should be called out for. Hey, look! You just gave us our board of people to hate because they say awful things. Nice, thank you. Here's your faces to hate. They say terrible things. Is that not the behavior you just condemned?
Clones did offended me a lot. And the things that they said offended me a lot.
Oh, bro, is he gonna call dog? I believe Armored Greg has been described as a capo of Don Sargon, but never as a leader himself, a top-level leader. I swear to God, if he calls Baron a skeptic clone, that's a fucking injustice.
I really hate the way that they took a format that was originally designed to create open discussion about it.
What format? Whoa! Saying something, showing something, talking about it. Showing it, talking about it. Showing it, talking about it. What format?
Issues to encourage debate. Basically, a format that was used to create discussion had been corrupted into something that was destroying discussion. They'd taken a format that I loved so much.
This man wanted to say invented. I'm telling you, he had to control himself.
And they turned it...
The format? Talking into a microphone? Playing something? Talking about... What do you mean?
It into something disgusting. As a way to bully people. They just wanted to bully people that had different opinions than them. They just wanted to bully...
They just wanted to bully people. They just wanted to bully them.
People for thinking different things from them. Another thing that made me kind of want to leave the culture war and stop debating about that is when the term reactionary and reactionary politics started.
True. Is he gonna... Okay. People using reactionary to mean someone who reacts to a stimulus. That's real annoying. Please? Is he gonna... If he calls that out, he's based. But I don't think it's gonna happen.
I'd never heard that before. And I...
Never? How old is he? Hang on. "40 years old. Let's go 10 years back. At 30 years old, he'd never heard of reactionaries before.
Started wondering, oh, does that describe me in any way? And when I started feeling convicted against that term, it made me realize that I'm not doing the right thing here at all.
When I started feeling convicted against that term...
I need to get out of this. This is not smart. This is not healthy. This is not helping. This has just become a form of...
You were scared of a label. Is that good behavior? Yeah, he's like a decade older than me. I'm 32.
Entertainment in and of...
He's like, he had a wife before he dated Seanhead. Some people don't know. He's lived a life, bro.
Of itself. And just the fact that people could be coming to watch my videos just to fulfill that desire to see reactionary content.
He doesn't know what reactionary means. There's no way bro thinks he was posting reactionary content. He thinks He thinks reactionary refers to the format where you show something and then react to it. And that's what upset him, presumably. Please. That can't be it.
Ranos22 fed the streamer $2 Superberry. Greg invented tubing. Confirm.
Indeed.
That bothered the hell out of me. That offended me that any of my audience could be that. And I just didn't want an audience like that. I want an audience that likes to think. I want an audience that likes to have fun playing with.
You can think and be a reactionary. He genuinely doesn't know what it means even now, does he? He's resenting being thought of as a cheap React YouTuber. He doesn't know he's talking about politics right now.
Ideas. I want an audience that loves to expand their thoughts, expand their mind, expand their spirit, their soul, their heart. And I want an audience that is trying to improve themselves the same way I like to believe I'm trying to improve myself. And a lot...
For challenge 1, look up what reactionary means.
A lot of those attitudes just do the opposite. They have the entirely opposite effect. One anti-feminist that frustrated the hell out of me was Bearing.
Really? Now, I feel it would be remiss of Armored Skeptic to not mention Candid, because Bearing was the one who got a sponsorship with them, who fucked them all over when he realized it was a mistake. I'm saying there's outside lore that means he is most certainly fucking biased, that he should inform his audience of. Elsewise, he's deceiving.
I could not stand Bearing. I don't know that you could really consider him a Skeptic clone. He did a lot of similar stuff, though. He was basically like a really boiled down version of that. But Bearing would upload multiple times a week with the exact same low effort garbage.
Oh, effort good. Low effort garbage. It's fucking YouTube. Are you gonna be... Is it... Bitch, you called your videos art. What do you think high effort is? Sorry.
Amazon has unofficially launched their first...
He considers this high effort. This is a motherfucker who's never done anything in his life.
Select regions of the United States.
One of the capabilities that this drone has is that not only is it...
Us so many times in the media, they tell us that the introduction of these automated devices is for us, to help us, to make life better for us. They want us to get excited about it.
He didn't drop a video calling other people low effort and then do this. Trying to act all superior. Who cares if it's low effort, if it's enjoyable and people like it or it's interesting or whatever. The amount of effort, who cares? Imagine someone drops, hey, he's fucking Squidward! This motherfucker is Squidward. Hang on. I'm going to show it in a way that Gregory can understand. I can't find the clip, and I'd probably get claimed anyway. There's an episode of SpongeBob where Squidward is doing an art class. He's like, okay, SpongeBob, try to... Well, you gotta follow the method. You gotta start with a circle, and you gotta do this. And SpongeBob goes, oh, like this? And he just goes, whoosh, and he draws a masterpiece. And Squidward's like, no, that's wrong. You have to do it like this. And he ends up, hammering into SpongeBob that he has to do things with the proper method and whatever. Put in the right effort. And he ends up destroying SpongeBob's innate, natural, effortless talent. When it comes to producing a video, it doesn't matter how hard it is for you or how much work you put into it. Most, perhaps, amazing things, there is a correlation, surely, between effort and quality. But if you can put out something you like and other people like and it's effortless, it being effortless, or relatively easy, isn't a critique. It's just something about it. It doesn't matter.
just bottom of the barrel stuff with almost no editing at all. And the way
So you're saying he's a talented speaker?
he conducted himself.
More editing, more better. More editing, more better. The more times you press S in Sony Vegas, the better your video is.
It made it clear that he was just scouring the internet all day, going through trending or just looking for the word feminist or feminism in the YouTube search. It seemed like his whole career was just searching.
This guy's gonna lose his fucking mind when he finds out about morning TV or talk shows. Jerry Springer is gonna make him kill himself.
The internet for people to make fun of. That seemed pathetic. That's a grift. One time he found this.
That's a grift? You can call it all sorts of things. That's not a grift. How? It's not a scam in the classic sense, and it's not a grift in the modern sense, which is someone pretending to hold views they don't really hold. Like being like, I'm the new boy in the block, I'm a right-winger, hey, give me money, but they don't really believe it. That would be a more modern use of grift and a more modern kind of scam. Grift can, of course, refer to any kind of scam. You're not describing a grift at all. What the fuck are you... Armored Skeptic tries to learn the meaning of words through context, through hearing people say them. But he's not smart enough to understand from context what they mean. So he thinks reactionary means you react to things. He thinks grifter means you pump out low-effort content.
This random video of a woman who was telling some story about her friend. But ultimately, the point of the story was just to convey that she wished that her friend had received better treatment.
Okay.
That's it. She just wished her friend was treated better. And Bering took that video and he chose to project feminism into that.
Okay.
He decided that this woman must be a feminist.
He hit her with the feminism laser beam.
And she must be talking about feminism simply because her hair was blue. That was it. She never mentioned feminism once in her video and never one time brought up a single
Blue hairs rise up. Blue hairs rise up.
Feminist talking point, but because her hair was blue, Bering said that she was a feminist and then mocked her.
Mom, Bering said she was a feminist.
And
what is this? Did he mean to send this to his mom?
Streamer of $5 Superberry.
Thank you for the $5 dues.
Rip off of him while he rips off post-crisis Spoonie.
True. It really does feel a bit like crying to mom. It's tattling. This has a tone of tattling.
Dismissed her entirely on the basis that she's a feminist. That was insane. I couldn't believe that that kind of stuff was even real. I couldn't believe...
Bro, there are children starving to death on dirt roads covered in flies. And your limit for comprehension of human cruelty and suffering is Bering saying someone's a feminist because they have blue hair? Come on. Come on.
I believe that that kind of stuff was happening on the internet. But that...
At 30 years old, he couldn't believe this was happening on the internet. Have you heard of Ogrish? Rotten? What are you talking about? There's... Children get groomed and raped. On Club Penguin. What are you talking about? The group is called Harmful Match. Harmful Match, but it's full, Siffy. There is another Harmful Opinions group, which I don't think is full, but I don't know if anyone's in there.
That wasn't the only time Bering did that. He did it a whole bunch of times. The worst example is when he did it to some random 16-year-old girl, or whatever, and she was sitting in her bedroom with her, like, gymnastics trophies behind her, and she says the most agreeable thing ever. She says something that I've said a million times.
Greg was upset because it felt like Bering was saying it to him. Bingo! Fucking bingo! It's like when you're told, don't make fun of fat people, because fat people you care about will think you think that of them. Greg was a pussy boy too scared to speak up for himself. and he swallowed his feelings, and he'd see someone like Bering insult what someone was saying that was something he believed and felt wounded, but was too scared to bring it up with Bering himself. That's my read. And now he's letting that out finally.
She said the same thing that a million egalitarians have said a million times. She said, I am not a feminist, but I think people deserve equal rights. I am not a feminist, but I believe people deserve equal treatment. That's all she said.
What did Bering say?
I don't know how you could disagree with that.
What did Bering say?
Anti-feminists would say that exact thing all the time.
Greg, what did Bering say?
When debating against feminists. It was tone deaf that Bering would even make this video at all. It's like he wasn't thinking about it. He was just looking for some sort of statement about equality and some girl making that statement simply so he could paint her as an enemy against freedom or some shit. Anyways, because Bering made this video response to her...
You're not gonna tell me?
A mob of his own followers ended up going...
His own followers!
...over to her channel and bullying her in the comments until she ended up deleting her entire channel.
Good. People under 18 shouldn't be on the internet.
Which, by the way, only had like a few hundred followers, and likely all of them were just...
Only had a few hundred followers. Who cares? Its potential audience is everyone with access to YouTube. She's put it out there. She's pissed into the river, and that piss hit him, and so he talked about it.
Students at her f***ing school, and then that whole situation ended up blowing up in Bering's face to the point where even he deleted his video on her. That was not a proud moment in anti-feminism, guys.
Not a proud moment, guys. Damn, what the fuck did Bering say? I might have to ask him, what was this?
But nobody ever talked about that. Nobody, especially within the anti-feminist community, ever talked about how...
Then how did it... Wait, stop. How did it blow up in his face then? No one talked about it, but it blew up in his face. In what way? Legally or something? Like, did he get threatened by YouTube or what? How did it blow up?
How other anti-feminists would cross the line like that. I would often try to make videos like this. I'd want to make videos like this.
What's the cope? What's the cope for being too scared to?
But my own peers would end up talking me out of it. And that's...
How? Ooh! Why were you talking to them about what videos you wanted to make? Why did they know you were going to make that video? Did you ask them if you should? I've never fucking asked anyone if I should make a video or not. Except, you know, personal people in real life, perhaps, because I value their opinion. Content creation peers convincing you not to make something? Why was that happening, buddy? What was going on? Explain.
That's another huge regret that I have, that I ever let people shame me for my opinion, and that I ever let people shame me for wanting to speak out about this stuff. Whenever I would make a video...
We know you've got balls when money's on the line, right? Everyone was shitting on Candid, and you still went through with that ad, right?
Response, I do my best.
Maybe you were just too scared of the contract.
To punch up. I would either make a video response to someone who had a way bigger channel or a way bigger following than me, or at very least I'd be picking a subject matter or a video that was already really popular or was already maybe even trending from time to time. But I would try my best to avoid punching down.
Punching down. Is punching down just to do with the view count, follower count? Do their ideas become different because of their following?
Especially if that person...
Hey! Greg, you motherfucker, you're doing identity politics. You're doing identity politics right now. Smaller YouTubers as an identity class who need to be protected in order, and you're using that to attack people like Bering. Which is what you said you hated about that whole thing to begin with. People using identity classes to weaponize them against people on the basis of defending people. You're doing that. You're treating low sub YouTubers as the have-nots of the online society. You're doing it, you stupid bitch. You almost fucking got me. That almost got past me, you piece of shit.
Person had less than 100,000 followers, I wouldn't touch them at all. And a lot of these anti-feminists were going after people that only had like a few hundred or maybe a couple thousand subscribers.
They were saying these things about minorities, guys. You can't say that about... She's a minority. She's 100 sub YouTuber. Guys, we gotta look after them. They gotta protect them.
Subscribers. And there's no sport in that. That's not fun. To just mock.
False. Depends what the video is. Depends entirely what the video is.
Random people. Like, I can't believe that even f***ing happened. Was that even real?
They're not random people. They're someone who's published media fucking online for the world. It's not going up to someone, going about their life, trying to live, just walking around in public and bothering them. It's someone who has posted a piece of media to be consumed. Hey, that whatever fucking little girl Bering made fun of, if her video had been picked up by recommended and she suddenly got 10 million subs, would it have been fine for Bering to say the same thing about the same video? What's the difference?
It's like that whole time period is not even real. But whenever people would try to talk me out of making content like that, calling out other creators for crossing the line.
Who? Name them. I helped you out. I let it be known that fucking Kraut had to take down the Armored Sheckler group. I think it was called like the Armored Sheckler takedown group or whatever.
They'd make it sound like they're trying to protect me.
Not my name choice. I was just invited there, okay? And I just watched it.
Maybe protect my channel. But no.
Who?
I was just being manipulated to protect something else.
By who? Name names. Right now.
Some image or some narrative, or usually it was because they wanted to protect the person I wanted to make the video about. And I should take that as even more reason not to care, and that I should just be calling out everyone that I don't like now. But Bering making content like this is a symptom of the issue that I'm talking about.
Oh god.
That the idea that anger had become so prevalent that the very discussion itself and the way that everybody was conducting themselves in the culture war debate, it was normal.
Hey, it's different when you're protecting a tech startup that's gonna... a tech startup that you know, YouTubers are saying they need to take money from because they got fucked by Google ads. By the way, the woman who was the CEO of that tech startup is the person who introduced waiting for keywords into AdWords. So, you know, she's actually a major reason you get fucked on ads nowadays. But never mind that. You had to accept that. That's different. You know? Warping what you say to make money is fine, of course.
Having angry discussions, it was normalizing being hateful. Just the idea of expressing anger was normalized in a really scary way. But also people's anger, people's existing anger was being...
This guy's not even calling out who was the worm tongue whispering in your ear.
Exploited and exacerbated. People were being drawn in because of the anger they were holding on to. And I think that that's how I got sucked into the culture war debate initially.
Am I crazy? I don't watch a lot of these kind of videos. My only exposure to Bering is that he's pretty fucking lighthearted. Can Greg just not handle bants, and to him it's like on the level of death threats or something? Does he? Like, he's really lighthearted. Bering also went after a guy for being a genuine fucking weirdo creeper misogynist. Do you remember that arc? He got him on a live stream and just reamed him.
As well, to be honest. I had just gotten out of a really abusive marriage, and I found out that my entire family had been triangulating me behind my back the entire...
I don't know these terms, you gotta explain. Triangulating me.
...time, and it was just bad. I was confused and lost and scared and angry and frustrated, and I didn't know.
I just got out of an abusive marriage, so I didn't have anyone to take my anger out on anymore.
what to do. My entire world had just collapsed around me back in 2015, and I was struggling with my identity.
Concerning sentence.
Didn't know where I belonged. I didn't even know who to trust anymore. I was confused, hurt, and angry. I let myself become a shitty person because I felt like the whole world was just shitty. And I thought, well, that justifies it. That's my only move here, is just to become the villain that everyone wants me to be.
Armored Joker! The mildest villain of all time. You catch him at the water treatment plant, and it's like, Greg, what are you putting in the water supply for the city? And he's like, a teaspoon of sugar! It will rot all their teeth!
I used my pain as justification to be a bully, and that's the biggest regret that I have in my entire life. I wish that
Who did you fucking bully? 2, are you joking?
I had healed my own trauma instead of just weaponizing it against other people, especially others that clearly have trauma. If anything, we're supposed to be on the same team here. We should be helping each other, not fighting each other. But the most embarrassing part is that I let myself get tricked.
We should be helping each other. Yeah, now, okay. Bring up any issue people deeply disagree on. An issue that potentially involves legislative outcomes when dealing with it. You don't think there are many, many, many fucking issues where you can't just be like, we're all humans, work together? That
into thinking that I was important. I tricked myself into thinking I was relevant just because I had some followers, and the arrogance that
true. I don't think you fully convinced yourself otherwise.
Developed from that was not good. I did not realize back then.
Was not good. By the way, let me tell you about all the guys who are my clones.
What a prevalent problem that bots were. But to be fair, I don't think anybody really understood how big a problem bots were. Today, we understand that about 50% of traffic on social media is bots, but we couldn't have really known what...
Okay, hold up. People use
Raining
this.
terror
Hang
fed
on.
the streamer a $5 Superberry. Why is he appealing to the left when they never forgive or forget? He'll probably get
I'm
thrown
not
under
even
the
sure
bus.
he is. He's appealing to the fucking middle. People... Siffy, it's okay. He did. Alright? It's okay. Additionally, though, people use this both ways. Right? Hey, when it's positive, it's real. When it's negative, it's bots.
Percentage that was back then. And for all we know, it was 100%. It was 75%. The point is, back then, we always assumed...
Put this in a tab. Come on. What the hell is this? Did his mom write this? Anyway.
Assumed that everything we were seeing and everything we were reading was entirely sincere and organic and real people giving their real opinions. Oh no, that's not what was happening. And
I'm sick of all this dehumanization, by the way. Half of these comments are literally bot generated.
we just assumed that premise because social media is supposed to be about the social aspect of humanity. It's supposed to be a place where people can socialize. It's supposed to be...
Even if it is a person, I don't necessarily believe they're sincere. What is this?
Mixing
You baby?
pot of all the opinions and all the beliefs and all the types of people. And in theory, it's a place where you can have those kinds of discussions.
No, Siffy, give him it. Just accept the premise.
But it turns out that social media is really more social engineering. And that...
Wow. Damn. Imagine if there was some sort of app that tried to... An app and chat website that tried to take that to its absolute fucking extreme by training an AI based on the behaviors of those using it and their stated approval or disapproval of posts. Wouldn't it be fucking crazy if some sort of tech startup had a product like that and this man advertised it?
A lot of those comments, a lot of those posts, a lot of replies to your own content are fake people that are stirring up shit. It's fake comments that are designed to make you angry or convince you to keep...
Okay, this is schizophrenia. Like, there was a Russian bot farm for months. All my comments were calling me preggery. It wasn't real, so I don't have to worry about it.
Keep going down the same useless rabbit hole, or even just to make you sad and try to make you give up on what you're doing. If
the fucking Chinese robots were targeting me with depression beams. That's why I felt sad. What? I didn't expect this.
If you're another creator like me, I challenge you to sort of think back at some of the feelings you've had about comments over the years, good, bad, and ugly, and just try to forgive yourself for believing all the hype in your comments section, because
forgive yourself for sucking yourself off. The worst I've ever felt about a comment was when someone pointed out a flubbed line and I just went, oh fuck, they're right. Oh well.
A lot of that wasn't real. And even the stuff that was real, those people were being equally influenced by...
Nowadays, I'll catch a flubbed line in there and just go, it's fine, just upload it. I'm not rendering that shit again.
Those bots, they were just going with the flow. A lot of that just wasn't real. A lot of that was designed to make us angry and designed to keep us hating each other and weaponizing our trauma against...
Sorry, does anyone in the comments call this out as extreme schizophrenia? What?
Each other. But I'm a sensitive guy. I can be really sensitive. And if I saw a comment that would say something bad, it would hurt me. And that would maybe even affect my decisions in future videos, or just the way I conduct myself in general. Or if somebody bullied me in my comments section, it would make me less likely to bring up certain issues.
Oh, man.
In future videos, I'd be too afraid to address them again because I wouldn't want to get bullied again. But how many times...
This man was 30 years old 10 years ago. He was about my age 10 years ago.
Did I do that with a fake comment that was just auto-generated by some bot? That's pathetic behavior. I can't believe I ever let myself conduct myself that way. But all the fake...
He's fucking serious. He's coping with people online not liking him by convincing himself that overwhelmingly it's just not real. It's a bot designed to mindfuck him.
Good comment.
That's fucking crazy. Just don't care. Is the content of what they said, is it something you agree with about yourself or what you've done? Yes? Okay, then care about it and do something about it. If no, simply do not give a fuck or engage with it for laughs or talk to them if you care about them or whatever. But like...
Comments were bad too, because they led to my delusion that I was relevant, or that I'm some leader of some social movement, or that people turn to me for insight or guidance, or that my words are gonna matter and something in the future is gonna change if I just say the right thing and convince the right people. But maybe half the comments on those videos were just bots. Maybe half the views those videos got were bots, for all I know. Maybe those bots were intentionally trying to create a perception.
Maybe, maybe not. Half of them probably watched it for about 1 minute. That's the big YouTube red pill, okay? Who's atting me? It better be something good. This is just real? He was the Joker all along. He really was. I was right. He literally became the Joker.
that my viewpoints were relevant in order to push some greater agenda. Maybe it was just that I was...
Wait. He fucking thinks, okay, he was aiding the reactionaries in the culture war. So the bot farms propped him up with views and fake comments. Is this genuinely what we're hearing now? He thinks he's the product of, like, Russian election interference or something.
Helping stoke the fire of the debate, and I was keeping the culture war relevant, and I was keeping people fighting
Greg, this is called delusions of grandeur.
Each other. Maybe that's all it was, is I was just doing my part to keep the culture war going. The YouTube algorithm also created a huge incentive to keep making content on the culture war issues.
I would suggest that is the, you know, greater part.
I promise you that Google itself was trying really hard to push the more progressive viewpoints.
You promise me.
They were paying several progressive YouTubers directly with grant money in order to make video essays and even reply videos. I met a handful of YouTubers.
Ooh, are you going to talk about Francesca Ramsey? He could have shown us. It was on the website FameBit that Google acquired. Google actually put up listings. So FameBit was a place where, as a YouTuber, you could go to get self-service sponsorships. Like my current sponsorship with Royal Match. Use the link under the Twitch stream. Or the QR code. Royal Match. You can get self-service sponsorships like this for YouTube back in the day. FameBit. Google bought it, and they put in sponsorships that were like, are you gay? We'll pay you to just say Google is good in your video. And say you're gay. And shit like that. This is a real thing that he's referring to. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. That shit was also wild in that there were people offering you sponsorship opportunities with a requirement of the sponsorship being that you do not disclose. They changed that really fast after I emailed them and made a video.
YouTube essayists that were getting grant money from Google directly to make their content. But the YouTube algorithm...
Jacopo, they say they can detect it. I don't know if that's true. But they don't want it. I don't know Jacopo. So, if you feel like trying it, thank you. If you don't, because it might not work, I don't blame you for not.
Was also incentivizing people on the other side of the argument to continue making content. YouTube's algorithm was rewarding videos even dissenting against that progressive viewpoint with extra views, and those videos just seemed really relevant because the comment sections would be bloated.
Seemed really relevant.
The algorithm...
My challenge to Armored Skeptic. Brenna Wu is allegedly still doing... It's not alleged, is it? Isn't it open that the, what's it called? Progressive Victory Pack is paying streamers? That's not like... I'm pretty sure they're just openly saying they're doing that and doing that.
Was incentivizing people to make...
Although the people who are recipients of such funding do not necessarily disclose it so well.
Anti-social justice warrior and anti-feminist content by rewarding them with views. That happened. And all that attention definitely went...
Right. I think Armored Skeptic's mind would be exploded. If he thinks this is occurring, if he thinks getting a bloated comment section, lots of angry people... Armored Skeptic, my challenge. Make a video talking about loli and lolicons. See what fucking happens in your comments. See what your take is. If you think it's just like, do you think it's the fucking government or Google doing that? No, it's just sometimes it happens with certain topics that people are very fired up about.
To my head, so I can only imagine it went to everyone's head. On all sides. I can tell from my channel analytics that YouTube was recommending my videos a lot back then. And when I deleted all the videos that I don't agree with anymore, I lost at least 10 million views, if not more. The point is, those topics were hot.
I lost those views. I don't... Lost those
Bad
views.
Dragonite fed the streamer $2 Superberry. Can't believe they copied his atheist Ona like that.
True. in terms of it being counted on your channel, your total views and stuff, yeah, but you can't erase it from people. Like, what a weird.
And it looked like the perception was that the public really wanted to talk about those issues. That was the perception. And in that environment, I let myself believe that I was important just because I was getting a bunch of views. And in reality, none of that was even real. In the end, it was all just a delusion. And I let myself get played like a rube. Like I said, I tried.
You know who he talks about? Sorry, not talks about. You know who he talks a bit like? It's coming to me. Cell Waters. He's on the Cell Waters pipeline. Ah. Hang on. Let's see if we can get a good clip of him talking.
So I deleted my old YouTube channel, which had over 10,000 videos on it. And
they're the same person! They're even talking about the same things, okay? If I speed him up...
And most of the videos I didn't want to delete. So, Cell Waters is dead. I am the artist formerly known as Cell Waters.
Now listen.
I had to sort of differentiate myself from any of the sides by calling myself a centrist, and I thought I was so clever doing that. But eventually it got to the point where everyone in the debate would start demanding that you pick a side. And if you didn't pick a side, they would just ascribe a side to you. So both sides would just see me as one of their enemies, regardless of what I would say. So I didn't have anyone in my camp anymore. I don't know who my audience is. And I don't even really know what I'm arguing for anymore. Mainly, I just didn't want to be seen as right-wing. I didn't want to be seen as a social justice warrior either, but I was more offended at the idea of being connected to the right. That was the accusation I would fight against the most.
Okay.
But everyone was so obsessed with sides that everyone would just see me as a mouthpiece for their...
I mean, sounds like you were too.
...enemy, regardless of their position. And I think that if there's a sign that maybe I was doing something right, the fact that everyone hated me was a pretty good sign. Probably means that I was a little bit more nuanced than everyone else.
All right, Amos Yee.
But still, never should have gotten involved. But that's just another way that I lost control.
Guess they just can't handle the nuance of my claim that humans evolved from trees.
Of my identity is that no matter how hard I tried, nobody actually cared about what I was saying. Nobody actually...
That's fair. I never watched one of his videos.
Cared about the arguments I was making or the things I was trying to say. They only cared that I was keeping the culture war relevant. They only cared that I was giving energy to that debate. And they cared that they could either use my work to embolden their position, or they could use my work to paint some attitude about some enemy. Like I said, the point of the culture war was not to actually push progressive ideas, and the point of the culture war was not actually to defend freedom or tradition or whatever. The point of the culture war was to fight the culture war forever. The point of the...
You don't think there's any motivation in there wrapped up with electoral politics? You don't think... You think that's it? You don't think the culture war is a tool? Really?
Culture war is to drown out all nuance and to drown out all sincere expressions of humanity and love. The culture...
You fed the streamer a $5 superberry. I'm a centrist, but I would Sudoku if I was ever viewed as right-wing. Gregory.
True.
War was pushed on us as a way to keep us from discussing more meaningful issues or to find some sort of camaraderie.
Okay, then why then? Is he gonna say it's like it's fucking Russia doing this to split us apart and attack the US?
Lottery among all the different groups and realize maybe we have a shared enemy that's making things bad for everybody.
Calm down, Greg. Are you gonna name them? Now that you're out of the culture war, are you gonna name the shared enemy? Wait, hang on.
Realize maybe we have a...
Is this like a Muslim's dog whistle? The pointing to the sky thing?
shared enemy that's making things bad for everybody. The culture war was designed to stop us from loving...
Or maybe he means just God.
loving each other. The culture war was designed to stop us from understanding that we can heal from our...
Greg is claiming to know mankind's ultimate enemy who is architecting the culture war purely to fracture us and make us hate our brothers. But he's refusing to name that great Satan. Yes.
Trauma. And that we can actually make our lives better. Another thing that I've always wanted to discuss, I wanted to make a video about this a long time ago. Here's some real dirt from the drama machine for you. Sometimes I would have video ideas suggested to me by some of my peers. At the time, I thought it was an organic thing. I was dumb enough to think that my peers actually liked my channel. I let myself believe that when they would talk about how much they love my videos and they can't wait to see me do a video on this topic, I thought that they were being sincere.
You just tell them no. You get someone going to you saying, stop talking about this candid stuff, talk about the BBC. No, I'll simply continue doing this, thank you. That's what you do. It's that easy.
I thought that they really liked the way I talked about things. What a dummy. No, they didn't like my videos at all. They were just trying to get me to push stuff because someone above them, some sort of handler, gave them that video topic, and either they can't use it themselves or their job is to get as many people to talk about that video subject as...
Is no one talking about how bonkers this fucking video is? Yes, indeed, True Whaler. He was not part of the Skeptic community. He was just a node in that network that the handlers for our humanity's great enemy that he refuses to name would try and pass missions to, so that he could help them fight the culture war to keep humanity down.
Possible as a way to get the algorithm to push that video subject. Also that they could make it look like that subject is relevant in the algorithm. And that's one of the things that all of those bots, as well as a bunch of content creators were part of, is manipulating the algorithm to make certain things look relevant when they really weren't. Sometimes we were getting angry about stuff as if it was this new issue that we have to deal with in society. That my peers were being fed those subjects by someone else. Oh, and sometimes progressive creators would also trick me into getting involved in a subject by...
The progressives would trick me into thinking and talking about things. Not gonna fall for that again, I'll never use my brain.
Saying to their audience that I was already involved. And stupid me, I'd come along and I'd be like, actually, I'm not involved, but if you want to know my opinion, this is what I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that was stupid. That Milo video I did is a perfect example of that. Like, Milo is just some kid. What was I thinking responding to some kid? The only reason I got involved is...
You're not responding to the kid. You're responding to the video they published. Guess what? If a kid posts a video, you can't comment on it. We're fucked. The ultimate political weapon. Child propaganda soldiers.
In that discussion is because ContraPoints told her whole audience that I was some edgy skeptic, atheist, anti-social justice warrior that was bullying this person. And
we've had Bearing named as someone he thinks is terrible, and ContraPoints blamed as someone that forced him to make a video.
And my response to that was to say, no, I'm not. And then I just turned around and bullied that person.
That would be based if he wasn't like this. I'd do that. If some fucking soy tuber says harmful opinions is bullying this person and I didn't, I'd say, no, I'm not. But thanks for the fucking idea! And then do the harshest video I've ever done in my life. And blame them for it. At the time, not afterwards.
It's not a proud moment. Don't worry, all those videos are gone now, but I'm just humiliated that I ever participated in that. But the point I'm making is that the reason that so many creators were making the exact same content back then was because they were all being fed those videos from the same sources.
Name them.
Same pipelines were telling all the same creators to make subjects relevant. I just thought that
name them.
You should know about that so that you understand that
Do you mean like Breitbart?
That's a thing that happens here. But after I realized that
that's a thing that happens here, I can tell you they group up and discuss strategies on amongst themselves. For instance, the group Kraut put together to go after Armored Skeptic, who he called the Armored Sheckler, if I remember correctly. But you're going to need to name this guy at the top, or these guys at the top.
I was not a good person, and that I was not doing a good thing, and that I had let the algorithm and the bots trick me into thinking that I was good just because I was getting a bunch of attention. I started to realize that, yeah, all the people around me are bad. A lot of the things happening around me are bad. I realized that I was a villain that had been causing harm for years. I realized that I was feeding that very machine that I was complaining was dividing people.
I will tell you, I did once have a discussion with Milo Yiannopoulos about what Lawrence Southern should be doing. I'm one of the puppet masters, watch out.
I was dividing people. So that's why I left that genre, and that's why I deleted all those videos. And I really hope that more YouTube creators realize that they're being used that exact same way. People across all social media platforms are being used that exact same way.
We discussed how probably a limit to how well she'll do or how far she'll go as a libertarian, and she should just go with conservatism instead. Weird. Did something like that happen? I don't know. Didn't pay attention.
YouTube is a lie. So one thing you need to understand is that YouTube used to be such a different platform back in the day. YouTube changed so slowly, they boiled the frog so slowly, that most of us didn't realize that the site had changed until it was too late. Like, for example, back in the day,
They didn't realize the site had changed until it was too late. The frog boiling thing pisses me off. Like, I know what you mean, but it annoys me because many people think that's real and a real thing.
You used to be able to customize your channel a little bit, make it a little bit more unique, kind of like you used to be able to do on all social media platforms. The whole internet used to be kind of different back then, though. It was a lot less aggressive, a lot less chaotic.
No, it was way more. No, this man is not real. This is not... He can't... What the fuck is he talking about? The customizable profiles made it way more chaotic, in fact. How does that make it less chaotic?
It seemed like people respected each other more, and just people were coming to the platforms with a completely different attitude. They wanted to have fun. They wanted to express themselves. They wanted to share their uniqueness. They wanted to show off their talent.
They wanted to show you a video of a guy being killed with a hammer.
And then somehow, within the period of maybe about 5 years, it just became a place to argue and get angry and get sad.
What the fuck are you talking about? The internet's always been for this is crazy. This is insane. How is anyone eating this video? How is anyone accepting this? Even slightly.
And all the people that had unique talent and that were actually beautiful creators, they ended up getting scared off of all of those platforms. And then the few places that they had that they could go, those places ended up getting removed from the internet entirely. Some big megacorp or something would come.
What are you talking about?
Along and either make it unprofitable for them by outdoing them on a different site, or they would just buy that site.
The beautiful creators have been outcompeted
out and then shut it down. The most important point is that YouTube used to be a social media site It actually had social media features.
What are your favorite moments? New video. Hey everyone, I've been struggling this last year and I really need help to pay for groceries and rent. Double my little post. This feels like social media to me. I'd call this a social media feature, wouldn't you?
I remember that I really enjoyed...
Guys! The fucking Chinese Jews are using bots to manipulate YouTube, so they got rid of the Google account integration and Google Buzz. They're trying to pull us apart with the removal of Google Buzz that no one even remembers existed.
Discussing things and making friends with other creators. The website doesn't even allow you to really do that anymore. Like, this social media site is not social anymore.
Does it mean they removed messages or something? It's because it's pretty pointless. You just use Twitter, you use Discord, you use... To me, YouTube is overwhelmingly a place that lets me host videos without me paying anything. That's like its value.
And no, the comments do not count. I think I explained that already. So there used to be direct...
Oh, because of the robots. The bots. Did you know that bots cannot DM you? If you get DM'd, you know that's a real legitimate person with feelings who's trying to connect with you and heal you, and you should trust every private message you receive.
Direct messages on YouTube. Creators could message each other directly. They could develop relationships with each other. They could...
Yeah, that's not necessarily good. Sorry, I thought you were concerned with manipulation. Yeah, that makes you vulnerable to peer pressure and manipulation of what you're posting. You in particular, you should know better than anyone else based on what you're saying.
Let each other know that they like each other's stuff, and it made it so much easier for them to network together and to collaborate together. That kind of thing used to be so much more fluid and frequent.
It's more fluid and frequent than ever. Collab culture? Collabs are on the fucking up, they're on fire like they've never been before. Does he look around YouTube? I don't know if this man knows what's happening on the internet.
Creators in general just seem to be able to get along better.
He doesn't watch YouTube. He doesn't look at YouTube. He looks at some fucking weird corner of YouTube, or he just thinks everyone's experience is the same as his. Every other fucking video I see is a collab.
Wanted to be friends with each other and impress each other and share each other's audiences even. So creators used...
Yeah, cross promo happens fucking constantly, dude. What are you talking about?
To be able to socialize back then. But now, you don't even know for sure if another creator is even seeing your comment in their comments section.
I need to stop doing that, man. It's too much, though. The video hacks my mind and makes me forget, dude. Guys, nowadays, I don't even know if Mr. Beast can see my comment.
That's how much this place has changed.
Come on.
Is that stuff even gets hidden from creators instead of shared. And they're used...
Damn. Some sort of AI moderation, Greg?
To be a whole thing called reply videos. Reply videos were the inspiration for the Armored Skeptic videos.
Okay, but like, what else do you remember about reply videos?
That was like a whole style of creation back then. The way
yeah, have tits, make a video, and then post it under the other one. Is he real? Did he experience any of this, or is he just lying? Does he have a bad memory? Is he lying, or did he just read it somewhere?
Reply videos worked was if somebody made a video making some sort of argument or debating something, you could make your own video in response to that, replying to the original creator. And if that original creator liked your video enough, they would put your reply underneath their video.
I think there was at least a period where that was automatic. Whaler, I'm not seeing how he doesn't see the immense potential for bullying, yeah.
This is how you can do a video response to another video that you see on YouTube. Maybe someone who's just starting out could learn something and maybe get involved in the YouTube community. So we scroll down to this box, the response, click there, click on create a video response, and now you can choose one of your videos as a response. So I'll just do my...
And this one right here is my cock poking out of my jeans, and post.
A generic response video. You'll see it's not there. That's because as the owner of this video, I have to approve the responses. So let's go to my...
There for sure was a period where, or you could potentially allow that to happen automatically.
My inbox. Video responses. Now I can approve it or ignore it. For this example, I'll approve it and scroll down. There we go. This is the generic response video.
This is Greg fantasizing about Captain Disillusion allowing him to do video responses.
Be a whole...
True, there are the ats. I have atted a few people without intending to.
Box underneath a video showing all the other creators that were interacting with that original piece with their own videos. And then you'd get like these networks of different creators sharing all these different works from each other, all discussing the same thing. And
guys, you know what the culture war has really destroyed? The sense of community. Back in the day, we used to do F for F, follow for follow. You'd follow someone and they follow you back, so you follow a lot of people, and suddenly you have a following too. It's like everyone's just...
That was a beautiful system, because what it did was incentivize creators to be respectful with each other. Because if you were a bully, if you were mean, if you were not respectful to the original creator of the original video, then they would not put your response, they would not put your reply under their video.
Right, do you think me as someone who hates them and wants to be mean cares? It means they looked at it, bro. I don't think he thinks.
So if you are respectful, if you actually follow the rules of debate, then...
Which are what? You talking about formal debate? The formal YouTube debate rules?
Then there's a much higher chance that the community will interact with those videos. And that's how those communities were grown. And those communities would essentially self-police because everyone was interested in keeping the discussion civil, and
the greatest victim of the culture war is Neopets. You used to be able to hotlink to animated GIFs of Cloud Strife swinging his sword around and play MIDI of Linkin Park on your shop page, but they disabled that. It was taken over by Scientology, and they disabled that because of the culture war.
Everyone was interested in making sure that nobody was just throwing around logical fallacies.
By the way, the man who just said that line earlier in this video said, "I am a skeptic because I'm a skeptic."
Push their point, or to push their worldview. The entire community would, in theory, have access to the entire catalog of videos around that discussion, ensuring consistency and civility.
Ah yes, the mob, enforcers of logic. Of course, Greg. Very wise.
In that discussion. I miss old YouTube. And I sometimes even forget that that's what it used to be like. You could have the entire...
Very easy to forget something that never happened. I would suggest.
Entire debate.
It's less that sometimes you forget, it's sometimes you hallucinate that it was like that.
All tied up together in one little box. There was so much more accountability back then. People were even trying their best to be civil. I mean, think about it. There were multiple communities of people that all disagreed with each other, yet they were all getting along with each other on this platform.
No. No? Is it, he might be blending... there were fans of different things who could hang out. Talking about political topics, we're talking about like atheism vids and religious people on the platform. No, they were not getting along. No, they weren't. Motherfucker, you don't remember the flagging wars? That was a staple of old YouTube around that time. The flagging wars.
Historically, that should be considered
trying to wipe each other off the fucking platform.
Monumental. That's a really big deal that we ever achieved that for even 1 second here. And that was my entire motivation for joining YouTube in the first place. I wanted to be part of that discussion. I wanted to be part of that community. I wanted to be a part of discourse. But all—
I thought he was going to say Discord. And then it was going to be sponsored by Discord. Flag wars? Yeah, Jacopo. Mass, you know, like mass report campaigns. People were doing that, trying to do that to each other all the time. Communities were warring all the time on old YouTube. And it wasn't viewed as taboo. People were openly doing this and it was seen as legit and it's just something you do.
All of that fairness and all of that community, it just evaporated. It just disappeared from the internet in the late 2010s. As both YouTube started rolling back and removing all of those social media features, as well as simultaneously the culture war was growing in—
Bro, the culture war symbolized like this, the puppeteer's hand up your ass.
Inside of the discourse of YouTube. And now the way it works is everything is so separated now, it's so hard to understand what content is tied together on this website.
How? What do you mean? There's a search bar, brother, in terms.
Website that all the people are now—
You can put it in your little box here.
Separated. All the mindsets are now separated. Everybody just gets comfortable in their own little community and never sees anything outside of that viewpoint. That's kind
Does he know about Discord? And how it shows you like your shared servers and like people link to their own Discord and people end up in a bunch of them and talking different ones and get all mixed together. I feel like it's less siloed than it was 10 years ago.
kind of scary. Really, there are no more discussions or debates. People are just yelling over each other, and people are just villainizing each other so that they can use them as a platform to make some argument. Or
yes, welcome to polemics. Rich history. Rich history. Literally thousands of years of history,
just
Greg.
Keep
Google didn't do this.
Keeping each other angry at each other for the sake of creating passion and anger in the culture war. Even the media is like that now. Like everyone...
I mean, as Siffy's well aware, we probably have more live formal debate events going on with online figures than ever now, right? If you're concerned about decorum, if you're concerned about etiquette, if you take those examples, it's probably the highest, the cleanest it's ever been in terms of YouTube and social media figures debating in the context of those events.
Devolved into clickbait. I think like the whole internet and all the media understands now that you get more engagement when you're divisive. You get more
divisive
engagement when you're trying to create drama around something. So nuance is just not even celebrated as a
Bro, you just told us there's a shadowy puppet master controlling YouTube and you're the product of a foreign bot army trying to use you as a weapon in the culture war, but it's nothing to do with US politics. It's actually just to destroy the human spirit. I don't know, man. That sounds pretty
profitable thing. The mainstream media uses clickbait titles that a 14-year-old edgelord would have used back in like 2015. It seems like
the culture war, weaponized identity politics.
Ideas are not even presented to us anymore before they thought of a way to divide us on it. Like you'll even hear them say that on the news.
Hold up. The drone workforce replaced by robots. Could see that being a headline. Microwave weapons are causing brain damage. Stop breeding dogs. Pedigree of evil. I don't know, man.
Oh, we're very divided.
I don't know if you're on a different level.
Right now. We're two peoples right now. But by continuing to say that, they're reinforcing that. They're keeping it that way. And they're also playing their role in making sure that we have someone to hate or someone to fear or someone to blame for all of our problems. Some enemy that's out there that's stopping us from progressing forward. That's how every idea is presented to us now in the media. Something that I had to come
to
understand as I learned it about myself is that a lot of the people that are even getting involved in the culture war debate in the first place are coming at this debate from a position of trauma. A lot of people.
Okay, here we go.
Including myself, were seeing everything through the lens of trauma, filtered through a lens of pain, fear, and confusion. So the culture war equally proposed a lot of ideas as being opposed to each other. Like, you couldn't just talk about a men's issue or a woman's issue. No, the conversation would always
Hey Greg, what's your take on abortion, brother?
Evolve into men versus women. And the thing about trauma is it can create confusion about seeing other people get special treatment. Like, some people in the culture war debate were just hurt that their own identity group wasn't being protected in some way. And when they were seeing that
they're called baby back bitches.
Some other identity group was getting some sort of special love, some sort of special treatment, they would wonder why they're not getting that themselves. But why does it have to be men versus women?
When it could be men plus women.
When we're talking about gender issues, why can't we just accept that there are men's issues and women's issues? And it's like,
damn, that's really deep.
Men.
He solved it, guys. He solved it. That's all that occurs. I've never heard such a nuanced take before in my life.
Who had a traumatic life experience would see women getting special treatment, and they'd say, I'm not getting that special treatment.
Where the fuck are my tampons, bitch? I pay my taxes.
And for my trauma, I'm not getting that special treatment for my life experience. I don't get a special thing for my problems, so they should not get a special thing either. And I see this with a lot of different issues as well.
Period day, I get a man flu day.
Like poverty, for example. Everyone seems to understand that there's a poverty issue, but nobody wants the tide to raise all ships. They just want their own identity group to get helped out. And they have some reason to justify hating and stopping every other group from getting help the same way.
Do you think he has a handler? I'm just saying it because I'm listening to him here and he's making me think of The Deep.
Everybody just...
Do you think he's gone back to a cult? I wonder.
Is angry about it, like they deserve it more, like they're affected more.
I don't mean like high level fucking conspiratorial government mastermind handler. I mean, like, do you think some fucking weirdo is whispering in his ear, or is this just him?
That attitude is going to keep us all stuck. We have to stop that. We have to let go of that. We all need to help each other. Recognize the issues that are affecting everyone and help everyone heal from them. When I think about the way that most people conducted...
That's nice. I saw a dead person outside the supermarket a few weeks ago. They were on a mattress and they were just fucking dead, and the people were talking about it.
Themselves in the culture war debate back then, they weren't really making the conversation about healing that.
Not really seeing how we go from this to like stopping that. Very positive, Gregory. How do we help them with YouTube videos?
trauma, or healing those issues that are causing problems in society, or trying to figure out why society has such ridiculous expectations out of both men and women, or why society treats any kind of group differently. Everyone just wanted to deny that any other group was suffering but their own. The entire debate would always just devolve into,
I don't think that's that common a perspective even.
Men versus women, hate versus hate, group versus group. It's almost like a game was being played with us to keep
I'll call it GVG.
us all spinning our tires in the mud and chasing our tails,
stopping us from achieving what can really be achieved when we work together on YouTube, which is this, apparently.
Amazon has unofficially launched their first fleet of flying.
The Chinese didn't want this to happen, but Greg did it. He finally broke free of the culture war.
Was arguing with each other. It's like we were being kept from creating meaningful community. It's like we were kept from showing each other our own vulnerabilities and our humanity. And
I'd say, contrary to that, people are far too carefree exposing their vulnerabilities to strangers online en masse. No, I think people do that way too much. That's really bad. Don't be telling strangers online things that fuck you up. Just don't.
Treating each other with respect and love. We were all just being played for suckers. There was a small amount of airtime given to men's issues, but the history of that is kind of chaotic, and it's sort of evolved into something disgusting. I'm sure that a few of you will remember the film The Red Pill.
Yeah, never watched
that.
it.
Was sort of given to us as the men's issues film.
Given to you by who? That blonde lady?
In retrospect, I have a lot of issues with that.
Declaring the month of October to be Bash a Violent Month.
I decided to go where no feminist has gone before and meet these men's rights activists.
I did a review on that film, if you remember.
You'll see how easy it is to just dismiss men's rights activists right off the bat. Especially off of the website, they use such crude and aggressive language. They really come off as just ass. And in person, they seem really timid and shy and almost like they have victim complexes. Both Paul Elam and Dean Esme are in this film, and they're both
seems to line up with you now. What are you going to say
on their
about
best
it?
behavior. And Karen Strawn is also in this film. And even though she is visibly drunk, she makes very lucid points.
Yeah, that was one of those video subjects that I sort of had handed to me, more or less.
Is the shadowy cabal pulling the strings behind the scenes of YouTube that he's referring to people trying to promote their new releases? Greg, I get like 15 people every day sending me their video game.
Very heavily encouraged to make that review, and I think I understand.
Was it perhaps a PR person contacting you? Perhaps giving you a code to access it or ownership of it so you can watch it and then review it?
And why now? That film was made to create a very specific image around the idea of men's issues, as well as paint men's rights activists in a specific light. The Red Pill film is really weird now that I...
You mean the filmmaker had a vision?
I think of it. The director makes the film all about herself and her
oh baby,
discovery of the idea of men's issues as a whole. The film.
Have you never seen a documentary done that way before? When it comes to the movie, bro, have you ever watched Louis Theroux? Very popular style.
The film even has a conversion story. She's supposed to be a feminist that's learning about men's issues for the first time, taking the red pill for the first time. That whole concept is really insincere. And even just the idea of the red pill in and of itself is dumb.
He's probably correct that, look, at the point at which they were editing the film, it was the documentary film, whatever. It was not a surprise to them, the outcome, as they were doing that, okay?
Makes men's issues sound like some quippy meme. It doesn't actually make it sound like a serious problem. And even though the film does pay some lip service to a handful of men's issues, it really only uses that as a framing device to focus on a handful of specific men's rights activists, as well as the director herself.
Insincere might be the wrong word, but you can call it insincere in that it will present it as if that's not going to happen, when they know, of course, it's going to happen. But it's like, yeah, of course. Docus do that all the time. Like when we watched the documentary about MMO addicts the other day, and it was like, oh my god, is she dead? Oh god, there's a suspense. Did she die giving birth? Like, of course fucking not, and they knew she didn't.
The film is really more about the egos of those people and those individual personalities than it is about men's issues. It almost doesn't care about men's issues. It sort of just weaponizes the idea of people being ignorant about them. If you want a better film about men's issues, then I really strongly suggest you watch the film The Mask You Live In.
Stop crying. Stop with the
Why
tears.
did he say it like that?
Don't cry. Pick yourself up. Stop with the emotion.
Oh, they hear voices? These must be Irish children.
Don't be a Don't nobody disrespect you. Be cool and be kind of a dick.
Always keep your mouth. Nobody likes a tattletale.
Bros come before hoes.
Don't let your woman run your life.
Bros come before.
Hey, do something.
Be a man.
Be a man.
Grow some
Just watch Gran Torino.
balls.
That was made back in 2014. I didn't realize that a film about men's issues had already been created right when I began my career as the Armored Skeptic in 2014. If I had known that that film existed back then, before I had made any of that social commentary, it would have really strongly changed the course of my content. The Mask You Live In is also created by a feminist, except she doesn't put herself in the film at all. She makes the film genuinely about men's trauma and
careful.
The unrealistic
I'd have to see it.
Expectations that men experience from their families and from society. The Mask You Live In advocates for men's issues better than any other piece of media that I've ever seen in my life. And I can't believe that the men's rights community didn't spend more time championing this film.
What does it say? Are you going to tell us anything except just say it's good?
And spreading the word. I kind of get the feeling that this film was buried. I kind of feel like this film was hidden from us.
By the way, you want my position on men's rights? Bad. Men need to be treated badly and as disposable, because that's the selection pressure through which we became better than women.
And I think that films like The Red Pill came out to sort of drown films like The Mask You Live In out. And the reason I believe that is because The Mask You Live In contradicts a lot of the narratives we heard around men's issues during the culture war. The Mask You Live In contradicts a lot of the attitudes that society has for men, and it contradicts a lot of the things discussed in the Red Pill film.
When Cassie J says no feminist has ever done this before, I want to say that's a blatant lie, because the film The Mask You Live In was...
What is it? She seems like she's talking about going and talking to these provocative figures.
It's also produced and directed by a
The Mask You Live In is about American masculinity. It's a film about American masculinity. The Red Pill, the line underneath says, Feminist Journey into the Men's Rights Movement. One is about a movement and particular individuals. The other is a feminist commentary on American masculinity. They're not actually about the same subject directly.
Feminist, and it came out at least...
Greg, it's nuance. They're related, but they're not the same.
3 years earlier in 2014. The men's rights activists are not exactly the same thing as the people that are interviewed in The Mask You Live In.
Yeah, they're different. They're about different things.
Cassie says she's the first feminist to do this, and these are the first men's rights activists to be interviewed. She's not saying that to be truthful. She's saying that to impress an idea. This movie is
Does the mask you live in involve the men's rights activists being interviewed?
Trying to make it look like these are men's rights activists now. These are the only ones. This is the brand you're supposed to look at. The very existence of a thing like men's rights activists completely changes the context of men's issues. It changes the context of men's issues from a discussion to a war. Now no longer can you bring up issues that are discussed in the mask you live in without someone assuming that you're some militant men's rights activist.
Just don't be weird. Literally just don't be weird.
Essentially, though, the problem is that in a capitalist society, it's more profitable for capitalism if men are set on this impossible task to keep grinding and earning and supporting. And it's not beneficial for capitalism if we care about those men and that we expect any less from them than perfection in their role as builders of the world and supporters of families. I think that capitalism doesn't like when men are treated as humans, because then they earn less money if we actually learn to care about them and to feel empathy and sympathy for their trauma and their pain.
Capitalism wants you to earn more money. I'm not sure about that take on a fundamental level.
Capitalism doesn't...
Who? I ain't never heard that perspective before.
Work very well if men are healed from their experiences and they're not set on that impossible task to prove themselves. Like I said, though,
I don't think he is a commie, because the way he talks about these pressures and the system are really, really, really weird.
If I had known that this film existed back then, it would have changed the course of my career. Because a lot of my motivation for getting involved in the culture war in the first place is because I was coming at it from a place of cynicism.
Aragast, when he says once, he's not saying it's a literal thinking thing, okay? That one's fine. Him saying that is fine.
Assuming that...
When he says once, think of it more like the system requires that to maintain itself.
Such issues would never get discussed. Meanwhile, there was already a whole-ass film about it. There's also another film called The Work, about a community of men in a prison rehabilitation program that are trying to heal and come to terms with their pasts. And
this is just, it's literally me. Newsom's inspiration for making the film came from becoming pregnant with her son. In an interview, she said, "It was really important to me that I could nurture a son who could be true to his authentic self, who wouldn't always feel like he had to prove his masculinity. There's so much loneliness, pain, and suffering when one is pretending to be someone they're not." Newsom raised $100,000 on Kickstarter towards making the film. Damn.
Learn about why they ended up becoming criminals, and they learn how to deprogram themselves from their pain.
Just like I deprogrammed myself out of the cult.
Pain and their trauma.
Zimbabwe, 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 Zimbabwe.
Oh man, he's just a hippie now, isn't he? Is that what it is? He's appealing to the hippie audience. Does Greg do this in the morning on the toilet? Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, 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 Zimbabwe.
That film, The Work, is crazy, but you need to see it. And believe it or not, that film came out in 2018. And again, I should have seen it when it came out.
Imagine if he's... And there's another film, there's another series I watched. It's called Oz.
And nobody told me it existed. Instead, I was told that films like that don't get...
The foreign actors tried to stop me from seeing Zimbabwe. If only I'd seen this, Trump would not have been elected in 2016.
Get made, and I just believed them like a dummy. I just let myself exist in that hate and that resentment and that cynicism, even though it was based on a lie. There's also another film called Happy Sad Man. I haven't seen that yet, but it looks really good. It looks very sincere.
What the? Are you just? Why are you? Okay, kinda weird, I thought, when you were just started recommending films. Now you're recommending films you haven't watched to us? What the fuck is this video? Is this an ad?
Here, and it also came out in that yet, but it looks really good. It looks very sincere.
I haven't seen this, but it looks sincere. What the actual fuck is that comment? What the fuck is this, Gregory? What are you doing?
And it also came out in 2018.
That's just Cocoon.
When I think
Guys, the ad said it was heartwarming, so you should watch it.
of masculinity, I often think about a weight of having to be a particular way. I don't know if it gives you the freedom to be yourself.
What guys will do, they'll make sure the car's right, they'll make sure the plumbing's right on the shed, they'll do all that stuff, but they don't do anything for themselves.
I'm so much happier in conflict zones than I am.
Gregory has not had a renewed interest in men's rights. He's discovered a new kind of media he likes, and it is media that enables him to vicariously pity himself and put himself in their shoes based on his feelings of being hard done by, is what I would suggest.
Being in normal society.
It seems like I've just had this fun kind of life, but when things went real bad, I'd lost all sense of reality.
If you met
Wow, he does things for other people, but never for himself. He's literally me.
25-year-old John Anderson, would you hang out with him?
Well, that's a good question for anyone, isn't it? Would you hang out with yourself?
What the hell? Why did nobody see these films? I'm sure you remember that back in the day, whenever a men's rights activist would...
Greg, why the fuck didn't you see that film? How long is it? You could have just watched it yesterday.
Announce that they're doing some sort of a conference, or maybe there's a handful of men's rights activists that are doing some sort of speech or something at a university. There'd be a handful of feminists or feminist activists that would show up and shut those events down. They would protest them and say they're misogynistic. And a handful of times those feminist groups managed to successfully shut those talks down. In fact, that Red Pill film is a really good example. The director had it shut down at a couple of different showings because of feminists. But what I think doesn't get discussed enough, or at least noticed enough, is just how often it is that it's men shutting down men's talks and discussions about men's issues. Men shut down talks about supporting men's issues just as often, if not...
You're so right, men are the problem.
Not more often than feminists do. Men have been the biggest enemy in overcoming men's issues, and that likely has a lot to do with denial and pride, I'm sure. Men, too proud to admit that as a man,
I feel like we're seeing more of his psychology than I'd ever want to. When, give an example, Schnizzo, I presume he's going through memories of his father telling him not to cry right now.
They're subject to some absurd expectations from society. Men in denial that they're even affected by those things. Because as a man, you're not...
No, I have autism. I'm just above it.
Not supposed to show that things affect you. As a man, you're supposed to pretend you're tough. People so complacent with the abuse and trauma that they've experienced that they justify it as a necessity to be accepted as their identity group. That's another attitude that's going to keep us stuck. That's another...
Down. Wait until he finds about trans people and their need to be accepted as their gender identity. That one's going to blow his mind. Apparently them freaking out over that is fine, though.
Attitude that we have to let go of. What I'm saying is certain men see it as a rite of passage to have to endure certain types of bullshit. Some men see it as a rite of passage to be treated specific ways, to grind specific ways, to have to go through specific...
Some men think you have to level up Slayer and never touch agility, but I'm here to tell you that's wrong. We can get all our skills to level 99. It's what Ziz would have wanted.
Trials and tribulations, and that's bullshit. For example, there was a group of feminists that tried to open up a men's shelter, A place where men could go to escape whatever
Why are
abusive
we fucking
situation they
talking
were
about
in.
this?
And do you know who shut down that idea? Men. Men came along and said, no thank you, men don't need help. Like, what the fuck even is that? That's pride and denial. That's just...
What did the men believe, Gregory? Really? Is it that?
Pure arrogance. To think, well, I survived my shit, so someone else that went through something else doesn't need help with his.
I'm gonna need to see that, dog.
He should have to endure that and learn to get over it.
Could have happened. That doesn't. That doesn't sound likely.
We live in a sick society. Everyone is suffering from the illogical abuse these systems and institutions inflict on us. Our goal should be to fix everything so that everyone can grow up in a healthy, secure society. Everyone deserves to live in a healthy, safe environment. Everyone deserves to be seen for who...
How are YouTube videos going to do that? Regardless of the algorithm, regardless of foreign intervention, how are you going to do that with your YouTube videos?
Who they are
By what means?
And accepted as a human. Everyone deserves empathy and love. And the people who are...
How are you, if these shadowy forces get a whiff of you succeeding, if they disappear you? Like, what are you going to do? This is silly.
Stopping us from achieving that are people who believe that their pain justifies someone else's suffering. Their pain justifies dismissing another human being's experience.
Then why'd you make this video? You're making me suffer, brother.
Selfish people believe...
How do you justify this?
That because they had to suffer, other people should have to suffer too.
He's got in his head right now the Twitter meme of the boomer saying, well, I had to pay my student debt, so why shouldn't you? It's not fair. He's got that in his head right now.
Fuck that.
Fuck that.
The little bobblehead is on screen to let you know what you should be doing right now. Let's all just nod. He's given us a 20-second nodding session to agree with him at the end. Yes. 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 It's gonna be all for tonight. We're just gonna watch one video, okay? Just a little Pregory watch party. We'll look at WPC tomorrow. I gotta go get my girlfriend a treat. Gotta get my girlfriend a treat. Gotta run out and get her a treat. I'll get you guys a treat tomorrow. I'll show it to you. I'll get a nerd rope and show it to you. That's not like a rope for lynching nerds, okay? It's what the fuck is this? Oh, it's a candy. It's like a jelly candy covered in those little sour nerds. But I'll be back tomorrow. That's gonna be all for today. Just look at that, talk about that. I didn't expect that one to last this long. We've got plenty of other stuff to do this week though. Thank you so much for your viewership, your companionship, and your incredible generosity. Lots of donors, lots of subs, lots of memberships. Make sure you download that Royal Match with my link and beat as many levels as you can. There are various thresholds. It maxes out at 500 levels, but you've got a month to do it. Yeah. All right, my G. See you tomorrow. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let men's rights bite.